There's audio. I think it might be the wrong microphone. It is. I think. Does that sound okay on stream? Hopefully this is alright. Hi. It's all a bit fucked today. It's not very professional, is it?
I mean, the start of the stream has been so scuffed. I think.
Hello.
Set the bar low. You can't go anywhere.
Why is your head in the welcome?
I forgot I did that.
Okay. That's fun.
I'm sorry. When I was setting stuff up, I like absent-mindedly did that. I forgot I did that. Let me just pour myself some water. Sorry for the faff.
So Gok's away. So
Nick's
yeah,
not
Tom's
here.
on stream duty this time.
Oh god, I don't
It's
have
been a bit
music
of a
on.
mad scramble
Yeah,
to get it all sorted within the last. I mean,
Yeah.
we're only 20 minutes late. That's not too bad for us, I think.
My microphone's really shit. I'm sorry for like bad background noise and stuff. Not really anything I can do. It's just gonna use Crisp, and if I'm streaming, I'll use thingy. Whatchamacallit? Thingy. So I hope audio is okay. I think game capture is okay. Does the stream look okay? I can't see OBS when I have this on, so
It looks
that's
good to
perfectly
me.
normal. Good. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, everything's a bit scuffed. Nick's not here. Nick's got a thing. So it's me, Bray, people. I guess we'll do the thing where we go down the list and everyone says what they've been doing. You're not allowed to say it's spoiling the thing anyway. We had a joke we were gonna do that we didn't have time to set up. So I'm gonna. If anyone wants to join this lobby, that would be good because then I can spec them. Just could watch Nathan, I guess, play RJ Home. Or no, okay, I'll watch Gordy on Bhop Parallel. The map cache thing doesn't work very well, so you have to. It says it's not downloaded when it is. That'll be fixed in 010. In fact, this is fixed when the 010 branch already because it's completely different now. Okay. What's everyone been up to? I'll go last. So, I guess I didn't really introduce people. Who's here? I can't see Discord.
At the top of the list, we've got Bray.
Yo.
And then we got Gordy.
You could say a bit about yourself.
I don't know. I do programming. That's it.
That's valid. Oh my god.
Hi.
Hey, Osplo.
I'm Gordy. I do web stuff.
Yeah, Gordy's a new addition. Gordy's been doing loads of really fantastic work on the website, which is great.
Yeah.
And then who else is here?
I mean, Lumia.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lumia. I've been doing a bunch of minor fixes and stuff recently. You'll see in the next update whenever it's out.
Mm-hmm. Then Mac.
Then me. Hi, I'm Mac. I do random bits and bobs on the team. I spent the past 2 months making an RJ map that has killed me inside.
Congrats.
It's a really good-looking map. I haven't played it yet, but I've watched other people play it.
Sorry, this looks weird. I'm pressing my coffee.
You know, without Goknak here, this is like Momentum Mod After Hours.
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think because I stream quite a lot on this channel, not Q&A, when I do dev stuff, and that's like become very casual because I do it a lot, and it's like, it's just a mess. And so now trying to be professional is just like, come on now. I played the fucking Rectangle song at the start.
Q&As are casual.
Yeah, and with the Q&As, I mean, for one, we get a lot of repeat questions nowadays, and right now with Momentum's development, we're in this kind of period of, like, quite a lot of our development work isn't even public. Like, the stuff on Steam playtest is quite separate from other stuff, so, like, we're in a bit of a lull period where there's not that much new stuff to show off, so it's these are pretty casual, and when we get closer to 1.0, we'll have a bit more focus, maybe? We'll see. Although it is quite scary. These get quite a lot of views on YouTube. So hi YouTube. If do come along to Twitch chat, obviously, if you want to talk in chat here, also our Discord, all that. I think we got added like some Mr. Beast video was like promoting us in the suggestions, so we had like one of them has like thousands of views. Yeah.
Mr.
Anyway,
Beast.
Mr. Beef. Mr. Beef. I love that guy. That guy's great. The dead eyes of Mr. Beast.
Introduce yourself, Tom.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm web systems lead, and I do a lot of UI design and other stuff. So I do a lot of bits and bobs.
Producing. Producing.
Produce. Well, I'm annoying and bossy. No. Anyway. So what's everyone been up to? Do we want to go down the list a bit? We've definitely got Gordy. You've got stuff that'd be great to talk about. But you want to go down the list?
Well,
Yeah.
the only thing I did was making the dashboard public. So kind of before we had to everyone who went to dashboard had to log in with their Steam account. Now they don't, and that's great because more people can usually they don't want to just go to the website and use their account just instantly. They want to
just hit the sign in for a Steam thing. Yeah.
Yeah, being able to see leaderboards and things without.
Bless you for that.
So now they can view maps. They can view leaderboards, and they can download new maps right now. But I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is, the front end is kind of this addition to the game stuff. If you want to see leaderboards without having to log into the game, it's nice. And it's going to be used a lot more in the future, especially for map submission. So map submission is coming with 0.10. That's been my sort of main bit of thing I've been working on in the last 6 months or so. Been streaming a lot of that. A lot of people here, I'm sure, have seen that. Where we showed off a bit last Q&A, actually. So things to do with momentum that are kind of things like map submission, map reviewing, and in the future we'll have more in terms of player stats. Right now we're kind of crap when it comes to stats collection. We're going to be working on that quite a bit. In some cases it's the game, we need to just have the game send more information there. But I mean, whilst we can do bits of kind of graphing and stuff in Panorama, like the end of run graph, a lot of the time it's a lot easier for us if we're going to show big sort of dashboards with player stats, all that stuff of map completions and timelines and fun stuff like that. It's a lot more practical to do that in a web browser than in Game UI, just because whilst our new Game UI system, Panorama, is quite good, it's not at all as powerful as Angular, which we use on the front end. But yeah, like Gordy said, right now it requires a login. You need to sign in through Steam to see anything. There's some good reasons for that, though they're kind of a bit overthought, perhaps, where because we don't want people sort of spamming our backend API too much, we like to require you have a specific, you need to be logged in effectively, so you need to have a login token for every request you make. That's overthinking it a bit, and we can throttle stuff in clever ways if we need to. And so getting some of that public, you don't need to sign in through Steam. I think some people do think signing in through Steam is a bigger deal than it is. Steam just acts as an authentication provider. It's not like we get access to your Steam account. We know your Steam ID, which is public if you have a public Steam account, and basically a bunch of other public info, but that's it. And obviously we don't get...
like that it signs you out every couple of weeks, so that's really annoying.
Yeah, well, that behavior we can improve. I think in that case, the current front end, the refresh token stuff just doesn't work.
That makes sense.
I can't right now. Refresh tokens expire in a week, so if you don't sign in at all in a week, it will require you log in again. But the general idea is if you sign in, 2 days after you last signed in, you're not going to have to do any login stuff. I won't explain JWT-based authentication stuff here. It's very boring. But we could even up that on the refresh tokens if we wanted. Authentication stuff is a lot better now and a bit better tested and more secure, so we can be a bit more confident with actually doing stuff properly. Honestly, I don't think the people that originally did the JWT stuff knew what they were doing. New backend is quite a bit better. Look at that. I don't know if that showed up. I got a JavaScript error. Good job, Gordy, making the game show an error. God damn it. But yeah,
it's my PR though.
But yeah, so thanks to Gordy's work with 0.10, with the new backend deploy, you won't need to log in to see leaderboards and stuff. Though things like map submission or looking at your own profile, you can look at your own profile without being logged in, I guess. But if you want to update your profile, you need to be logged in. And right, shall we? Who's next? Who's been doing things? Matt, you already said you've just been doing a rocket jump map.
Yeah, I've been doing rocket jump maps, and I've been trying to figure out a couple bugs that have been happening in Defrag. So I've made a couple issues for those, but other than that, yeah, I've just basically finished my RJ map finally.
What is the interp setting that makes the game look better? Are my network settings bad? Do people feel a bit laggy? 0.1?
It's all under mom_ghost online.
Oh, right. Ghost online. LURP. Isn't that a bit high? Let's just turn it off. Just no LURPing. I was going to teach you linear interpolation, wasn't I, Mac? I was going to show you how that thing works. There's all just lines.
Get some good sources of learning like JavaScript and TypeScript first, though, don't I? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, just jump into it.
Linear interpolation is pretty easy. It's just there's one line and another line, and you make them the same. That's not what it is. It does look a bit better. It's maybe a bit flappy. Whatever.
I think it's interp ticks as well is another one that you can try changing.
There's wait. What is it? There's interpolation and LURPolation.
Yeah, interp ticks like 1 or something, and it might be a bit smoother. But I don't know how it works. It's magic.
Yeah. I don't know who am I specking. I just switch between this lot. Then I'm forgetting who's in Discord. What are we?
Lumia's got some cool
Lumia, you've been doing some cool
coming,
things. Yeah. How's that been coming along?
Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of rocket jump stuff recently. Technically, it applies to sticky jump too, but just working on better water bobbing, like removing the RNG from that. Some random fixes are water, like when you crouch into water, that's been broken in Momentum for a little while, which doesn't affect most stuff, but there were a couple maps where it caused problems, so that'll be fixed. Other random little things, and then I've been reviewing some of the O10O work that Rio's been doing.
Yeah.
I do want to just point out, since I don't think any of the O10O devs who've been working on the red code are here right now, so they've been doing a lot of stuff as well. Most of the work has actually been going on to the O10O branch, which is not visible to anyone right now other than us. So you just have to trust me when I say that there's a lot of work being done.
Yeah.
But hopefully soon-ish, some of that will be more visible and people can actually see the huge amounts of progress we've been making. It's just kind of difficult right now because none of that stuff has actually been made public yet.
Yeah, it's with this work. It's quite a lot of different systems that have all needed reworking, and tying them together at the end is really hard. So it's quite hard to make sort of incremental progress, or at least we've not had something to really push out to Steam, at least, unfortunately. Where, I mean, some of the stuff that I've been doing of O10 work, that I've been streaming, people might have seen a little bit of where some of the backend changes there. Those are heavily related to O10. And we've spoken about this a bit before, but just to give a quick summary, we've got sort of the way timers work and zones work is changing a lot, where the underlying zone format's changing, for one, in quite a lot of internal technical ways. Then timers are being reworked to support multiple timers, so stuff like stage times. That's something we'll have in O10. In the past, we were sort of planning to do it around O11, but we've moved it forward because timers really make sense to do now. So basically, the zoning system, the timer system, a lot of the game networking and sort of inner state that the game tracks, all that's been changed. And then the way it interacts with the backend. This is Gordy hopping right now. Who else is in the lobby? We could... Anyway, so it's kind of all these, if with Momentum, sort of the work we're doing up until 1.0, right? The main reason we're not releasing Momentum right now is we're going to have to reset the leaderboards before with the work that we're currently doing, and we don't want to release Momentum until we don't need to do any more leaderboard resets. We get that people want Momentum to come out as soon as possible. We're watching the game right now; it looks relatively playable, but for us, leaderboard stuff is a thing that we're refusing to release the game until that's done. And there is really other significant things, and anti-cheat. We don't want to release without anti-cheat, that kind of thing. I'll talk about this map in a minute. What am I saying? Of the sort of big refactors we've needed to do, the O10 is kind of the biggest one. We've got O10 zones, but it's also timers and a lot of game networking stuff. Then we have O11, which is the replay stuff, where replays are if I just hit tab here, and this is a cheated run. This is probably legit. It's just downloaded someone's replay file and it's instantly playing it. This system needs a bit of work, and it's going to require resetting all the current leaderboards because we're not maintaining backward compatibility with this current format. So we will. Hopefully, the replay stuff shouldn't be anything like as long as O10. It's really very hard to give specific timeframes for anything on Momentum. Again, this is. Whoa, okay. This runs sick. This is all volunteer work, and it really is a matter of these big refactors, especially. What is this, Matt? With these big refactors, it's something where someone has to put a lot of time aside and really focus on, really big changes. And it's programming wise, it's really hard. It's you have to maintain a level of focus on it, and you can't just work on it for an hour a week or whatever. If you lose your focus, it can be really hard and getting back into stuff. And so things like map submission, all the zoning changes, all that's just been massive amounts of work that we've I'm very glad we're getting done, and especially with O10 where it's all these interconnected things, and it's a really big sort of hump of stuff to get over at once, and we're actually making really, really major progress. O10 should be the last of those. But in terms of release date and time frame, people ask us, we're not going to have a specific time frame until, when we're about a month out from release. We'll hit O11, O12. O12 probably won't be that significant. O12, O13, exactly what those end up being, it's a bit hard to say. Well, in terms of what people want to know about release date, the thing, there's so much in O10 that, and some stuff that doesn't seem like it's that much work. A lot of it is internal refactor, things that are really, really hard to do, but we need to do. If we don't do, we're going to have to end up just resetting the leaderboards later down the line. But yeah, 2.0 will come out tomorrow, but 1.0 we don't know when. Thanks, Gamecat.
I like how there's kind of an entirely parallel, unrelated, number of tiers argument going on in chat right now.
Yeah. Also,
nobody's actually listening to us.
Yeah. Also in the YouTube VOD, which is where most people experience this content, you can't see chat, so no one knows what's going on there. But okay, so with release date, O10 isn't coming out probably in the next month, but it's getting, I would say, the bulk of it is done, and a lot of it is going to be this final tying ends together. We're hoping to get a public release out relatively soon, but it really does depend on mostly Rio's remaining work when it comes to hooking up the timer. So even then, we can't give us any kind of specific deadline, but we are aiming to get a pre-release of O10 out before O10 that will have all the map submission stuff, new backend, all of that. This is a whole new backend deploy. We're doing all of this current leaderboard stuff. This is getting redone, or it has been rewritten, and we have not brought it live yet. It's been tested quite well, but we've never used it in in full production yet. So we'll be doing a little bit of sort of pre-O10 stuff for that, and then O10 will come out. Hopefully the space between O10 and 1.0 will be quite a lot smaller. In fact, I'm pretty confident we're not going to have any milestone of the scale of 09 whatever to O10 by anything close to that. I don't think will happen between 1.0. I think the people in this call, we are all people that put our free time into working on Momentum, and I think if Momentum did feel like it was just a completely inconceivable task, I think we would have given up by now, and we haven't. Like, we are still doing this work, and we do think it is feasible. We're not expecting to have like 2 or 3 milestones that take multiple years to get done. I think if it seemed like that was the case, I don't think any of us would have very much motivation to work on it, frankly. I don't think I would. So in that regard, you know, hopefully that gives some people some confidence. That being said, we're not committing to any kind of specific release date, and this is work that we'll do because we want the game to come out, and it takes a lot out of us. It's, you know, I don't know how much time I've put into Momentum, definitely over 1,000 hours of work. I think that's probably the case with various people in this call. Then all the other team members, it's, you know, it's, we're not doing it like for the sake of it. We do really want the game to come out, and so I think everyone's kind of frustrated by like release taking a while, but it's just how making games goes. If people want it to come out faster, you should get in touch with us, and you can contribute. We're mostly really looking for programmers, frankly. There's not that many other major. Actually, that's not true. There are other things, and maybe we can talk about that more at some point. We'll probably reach out more to potential new team members closer to round 010. But anyway, if you do want the game to come out sooner, it's definitely good to get in touch and contribute.
We need a ton of assets, honestly.
Yeah.
And we need a lot of sound work as well.
Oh, I thought you were joking. We do need quite
No,
a few
no,
assets.
we-
And sound, yeah.
Sound,
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a lot of
The
animation, sounds, particle effects. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so much polish that can still be put into the game that we
Yeah.
haven't prioritized. But I mean, if we could get artists who are willing to work on that, then like, yeah, there's a lot that could go into that side of Momentum.
which we could be doing now, and we probably will start actively reaching out more closer to 010 because it takes time for us to try to organize, right? And so we kind of have to decide, okay, how much time do we want to spend developing the game, and how much time do we want to try to spend finding people to work on stuff like art. We'll probably do more of that at 010. But yeah, when it comes to, there are quite a lot of quite source-specific things, which I think is one of the quite frustrating things about this work, frankly, is like, model-wise, we have quite a lot of the base models we need, but when it comes to actually rigging and animation, like really source-specific things, a lot of that can be harder. Also particles, like you mentioned, like Source has its own particle system, and we could do with people for that.
Vortex is the only person that knows how that works in the entirety of the source engine. So, you know.
Right now, it's basically just Vortex. And Vortex has some time for stuff, but it's just very busy. So any work we can get out of Vortex is amazing, because Vortex is so experienced with that stuff. But I mean, it is just the issue is working on Source 1, right? And because we do want to stay on Source 1, you couldn't really make Momentum on Unreal or whatever, even though doing asset stuff and mapping or whatever, I mean, okay, Hammer people aren't going to admit to that, but it's like Source is not the tooling's not good, and it's not a great engine to make stuff for, but we do really need that for, we'll need more of that for 1.0. So definitely, like, anyone that's interested in the programming, not so much game programming, because that's more closed source, though we can license more people, we just need them to have existing experience. But people wanting to do web stuff, UI stuff, and other non-C++ tooling, always very happy to get more people there. It really does get the game out faster. Right, sorry, we kind of just went off on talking about whatever there, but...
Yeah, we should answer some questions, that'd be good.
Yeah, well, wait. In terms of what everyone else is doing, I just wanted to give a quick... I think we've done most of a rundown of the ongoing 010 work. There's been a lot of good progress this month. I just want to cover a little bit for some of the other stuff that... Panda's been getting a lot done when it comes to hooking up networking stuff. We talked about that in the last Q&A. Panda's just made a lot of progress there. So the map selector 010 stuff, that's coming along well. At 010, we're going to have... we're not going to have a concept of... Like, the UI is kind of locked to a single game mode at a time. 010's version of it's going to be quite simple. And as a post-010 thing we have planned, we have a kind of new UI page called the Game Mode Hub that's going to be this kind of place that you set your game UI. God, that networking feels so bad. Maybe it's just Gordy's internet. Who should we watch? Let's go spec someone else. Let's okay, let's go watch the bloody rocket jumpers. So fucking Twitch chat this Did I hear web stuff? Yeah, Steve, if you want to do some web stuff, get in touch. Web stuff's fun. And we're actually in quite a good spot with web in that, like, our systems don't suck anymore. They're quite nice to work on. Like, Angular's a bit out of date to some people, but Angular's not bad. And we're, like, modern Angular now. That's nice. Who should we spec? Mac, you're in the driver's seat. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and as far as, like, getting licensed devs goes, we don't really necessarily expect people to have, like, tons of experience. The bigger thing is that talking to Valve and getting a commitment of, like, yeah, we want this person to have access to this closed source engine code is kind of a big deal. And we need basically proof that someone is going to actually do something with that and not just get licensed and then leave, or even worse, like leak the code or something like that. It's not really about skill. It's more like, you know, if someone wants to be licensed, it needs to be someone that we can trust will actually do something with that license and not kind of just disappear.
Lots of trust,
which is kind of difficult right now because there's not a lot of things necessarily that lead to, like, building that trust, I guess. There's limited kind of game code related stuff that you can do that would demonstrate that, so it's kind of difficult.
Well, in some cases, with things like with Panzer and who else was it? We've had other areas of momentum where people have been able to contribute. So stuff like Lumper, Bird and Panzer, both started, both two licensees. They both first got involved doing tooling stuff like that, so that's in C#. And through work there, we then license them. A lot of it is just, in terms of people we license, like, they need people that seem passionate about momentum, but also just nice to work with. And, like, I think when it comes to game modding and stuff, you quite often do get people that like to sort of work on their own small little projects and will, you know, do some good work, but often not be great sort of working collaboratively. And something like momentum has to be collaborative. You really do need to, like, work well with other people. And for instance, we expect you to do code review. Like, if you're submitting code that other people are reviewing, you should also be reviewing other people's stuff, things like that. So you need to be sort of, you know, involved with the whole thing, not just like, I want to do my own new game mode or whatever. We do bring people on for new game mode stuff, like Game Chaos and Lumia, but those people have also contributed to other things as well, and it's kind of weird. Oh, that was fun, Mac. Look at that.
Wow.
So we're happy to talk with people about license stuff. But to be completely honest, in some cases, like, if it's someone that seems like they just want access to the engine because they want to say they've got access to the source engine or whatever, like, we don't care. Go away. It does need to be people that are, you know, want to do momentum, not just have the source engine. C# Scrum Master. Yeah, you gotta do the Microsoft stuff. Shout out to Microsoft.
I love Microsoft.
Yeah, it's been funny being in C# land for the last couple of weeks. In fact, yeah, I'll just update on my stuff. So I've been in a lot of the map submission website stuff. Been streaming a lot of that. Once we get this Steam build out of 010 stuff, pre-release build, we'll also have a website deploy there so people can go on and check out the new website stuff. I'm really excited for that. And though last couple of weeks has been, I've been doing C# stuff. I've been in Microsoft land doing Lumper, which is a BSP editor tool. If you're familiar with like EntSpy or Vide, it's kind of similar to that. Ours is more modern and open source, because unfortunately some of that stuff isn't open source, and so we can't really build off of it. And we have our own BSP format, or we have an updated version of the BSP format that Vide doesn't support. So we've kind of known for a while that, like, because with map porting, we want porting maps to be something very unintrusive. Like, we want to respect the map as original creation and really modify the file as little as possible.
Also,
Lumper
decompiling is a bit of a pain in the arse sometimes.
Right.
So,
yeah. But so you just have to do a bunch of work getting BSP parsing and stuff working. Lumper's not a massive project. It's just been something where mostly been me and Bird have been the kind of two main devs on it. I guess Bird really is the sort of primary. He's done the really difficult work when it comes to BSP parsing stuff and BSP writing. I did some of that, though a lot of that I was able to take from existing open source stuff, and a lot of Bird's is more difficult shit that the static prop lump stuff is brutal. So Bird, the work there is incredibly appreciative. Also there's JPadger, who did a lot of this early UI stuff. Some of the last, last couple of weeks for me, I've been sort of working off the UI. We're aiming to get a release of Lumper out in the next couple of weeks, first release. So that'll be fun. Right, questions. Let's actually answer some questions now. I apologise for just rambling. God, my hair looks awful. Holy crap.
To be fair, we don't have that many questions this time.
No, we don't. And so, I mean, yeah, I do think these streams are a good way to just chat about dev stuff a bit. Was there anything else we want to talk about actually before we move on? Of progress stuff, yeah, we don't have a precise time when O10 is coming out, or even the O10 pre-release, so we are aiming to work towards that. I'm probably missing out some bits of work that other people have done. Nick has been pretty busy in the last week, Goknak. He's aiming to work on some of our server production stuff, which is really nice, because I hate doing production stuff, and so having Nick do it is great. And he's really experienced with that stuff. Making servers work, oh, it's so boring. It's just, I cannot stand computers. So, what else is...
Peansqueak has been working on the zoning UI?
Yeah, we might have a few previews of that. We want to get a blog post out soon on O10 update. So when is it? Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have that out. In fact, if it's not in a week, I'm gonna shout at Nick. We're gonna fix ramp glitches. We didn't we? Yeah, everyone's fixed those. Those are fixing like roadblocks even.
First fix
you don't even need engine for that.
Yeah. 03 version or something.
Yeah.
Happy's been working on the
yes,
main menu track.
There's finally seeing Happy's things. Yeah, so main menu track is, we don't have a ton of music in the game right now. We've had several musician people work on Momentum. Monolith unfortunately isn't. Is he still a team member? He's still like a friend of the team and around, and we chat to him from time to time. But I don't think Mono's still on the team. I could be wrong about that. I don't think he is. Anyway, but we've also got Happy, one of our music people. Happy's also a localization lead. Happy's been super active on all sorts of Momentum stuff for years now. And yeah, we're hoping to get a main menu track at least out in O10. Is that what we're going to aim for then, Happy? I've sort of lost track of our time frame with. We've got quite a lot of audio stuff that we need to clean up a bit, and we'll aim to have some of that cleaned up for O10, and then straight after O10, and we start doing like game UI sounds. If you might have noticed, like our game UI is quite polished in some places at the moment, but also just really jank in others. Like this spec UI on the top is bloody awful. It's like the control to toggle mouse input when like the leaderboard thing is right click. Oh, can't stand
I like
that.
how you also have two key press HUDs right now.
Yeah, forgot that you did that.
I forgot that I worked on that. Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago. I spent a day or so, like, we were chatting about making the key press UI a little bit better, and I got annoyed by how it was implemented, so I rewrote the whole thing in pure JavaScript, because don't make UI in C++, please. So, there's like this work in progress key press thing on the one closer to the center of the screen is the work in progress one. People in chat asking about timer and networking stuff. That it will be networked. In fact, that work is ongoing right now. That's something that Rio's put a lot of thought into. Networking the timer is pretty annoying. I don't know this stuff particularly well. Like our networking is the thing that I know like the least about. Probably out of like most of our big technologies. But yeah, that's something that is being like very actively worked on right now. Is network timer. So that will be the thing in the future. Should we switch map? Or we'll just keep watching RJ Home. What a beautiful map this is.
You beat 3 times in a row, but I've had SVGs on this whole time, so it didn't
count.
Okay.
Well, do it once more. Come on, one more run. You can do it.
One more run.
Okay. Actually, no, let's change map. No, I'm kidding. Did Twitch map without telling you. This map is actually pretty good. Situ's made that for a school project. That's great.
That would be cool. I didn't know that.
Please play Conc. Did we get a real please play Conc, or is that just the fake ones?
That's the fake one.
300 point ones.
Okay, can someone else keep track of questions in the Twitch chat that we can get back to? Is that alright? Because I've not been doing that, and my setup's all a bit jank. So, I think we should move on to questions, but if someone else could, like, Cosmodeusmaximus, we'll answer that a bit later. We should get to the pre-submitted questions first, I think. Okay. Right. Shall we... Who's going to answer questions? Or read questions? Who wants to read? Nice, thanks.
Okay, so first question. Osplo asks, what are the rules around porting maps at 0.10.0? Can anyone port any map, or do we need to ask permission? Should gameplay be as one-to-one as possible, or will people be expected to make adjustments?
Good, yeah. We haven't made a sort of official guideline on this. I think the general... The easy cases are going to be, if the mapper stood around and active in Discord or plays on servers, whatever, that mapper obviously gets dibs on porting their map. It would be weird not to, right? So if the mapper's about, they'd be expected to submit it. Ideally, if they're not interested, someone else could port it. But generally, we'd like expect that that person that is porting it would like provide confirmation that they asked the mapper. And yeah, I'm not sure how much we even want to have like completely sort of solid guidelines, because these things often do end up being kind of case by case. But I think the general important thing should be let the mapper port it if they want to, right? That seems fairly obvious. Then
what are we going to do about mappers who don't want their maps to be ported?
Well, that's completely up to them. Like, I don't think... It would be good to have somewhere to track that, just so we can keep track of people that say, I don't want my map ported, so that we can reject people that do port that map and submit it. But, of course, if someone doesn't want their map in the game, that's completely reasonable, or at least... Maybe not reasonable, that's a bit weird, but whatever, it's up to you. It's your map. At least that's my attitude, right?
Yeah.
But then...
You can't steal people's maps.
Yeah, right. And so if the mapper isn't around anymore, which is the case with loads and loads of mappers, then we'll have some quite specific guidelines there for porting maps, where, I mean, the main thing is going to be respect the mapper's intentions and modify stuff as little as you need to. If the map author is doing stuff like Panzer, for instance, with Bhop Arcane, which is a very popular Bhop map, like there's like multiple versions of Arcane where like boosters work differently in each version, and Panzer, who's a member of the Momentum team but also the author of Bhop Arcane, has said like he wants to like clean up Arcane for Momentum and do like a Momentum version, and in that case it makes total sense, and it's his map, so that's the case. If you're not the original author of that map, generally we're going to advise against that, right? Like, even if the map is kind of jank in some ways, I'm guessing in most cases we're going to suggest keep true to the mapper's goals there, and maybe in some cases there'd be like a separate version that's like... But, I don't know, I think it's kind of, it's such a case-by-case basis thing that, like, how much we want to kind of, you know, say specific rules, I'm not sure how helpful that is, but... a lot of it is just about good intentions and staying true to mappers where it makes sense to. There's some things that like absolutely will be rules. For instance, if you put music in your map, that music needs to be put in a certain way. We have a bit of internal discussion going on about that still, where Mac, don't do that. Sorry. Should we change map? What should we play? I don't want to play the game. I want to just have people to spec.
We should play Conc.
Oh, did we get some Conc?
There was a real...
Have we got any good Conc players that we can spec? That'd be fun. Who's good at Conc?
Archaic Conc.
Yeah, Mac. Pick a map. I'll join you.
Let's do Groove 2.
Groove 2. Groove 2. We have a really cool map selector stuff changing at 0.10 that we're really excited for, where we basically don't have to download the map list every time. That's good. I'll play a bit of Conc later, but answering questions, it's hard to answer questions and this stuff.
Yeah, as far as like maps being one-to-one with the original, I think for some game modes they pretty much will be. Like Surf and Bhop, I don't think we've done anything in the game that would make those maps end up playing differently from how they were intended.
Yeah.
Other than some like ramp fix stuff, but that's probably not going to really change anything. For other modes, though, maps might need to be adjusted, or we might want to adjust them because we have made more significant changes. Like we were talking earlier about sticky jump maps. Now that we have super consistent rollers, maps that were kind of built around the idea that they were inconsistent maybe need to be adjusted, although we might also change how rollers work to make them closer to the original TF2 behavior.
Is that the case for many maps?
Well, it's the sort of thing
it's
like
very
Colo
few.
was showing me a map the other night that has like an air pogo section where the whole floor is like V physics, right? So normally
you'd
you
have to
can't
change
like
that, yeah.
you can't like pogo that on the floor because your stickies would just go everywhere. But now you can do it like super easily, super consistently. I think there might be some other maps like that. I don't know.
But those are quite rare cases, though.
I guess I'm not really sure, and it might be something where. Yeah, we just basically like maybe change those maps to be no grenaded instead and get the same effect.
Yeah.
Or just kind of deal with the fact that it'll be different because like there are like a few hundred sticky jump maps, but like compared to some of the other modes, that's not really that many. And it might be better to just be more, forward thinking. Because people are going to start making new maps for Momentum, and we don't want to hold those maps back because of compatibility with like old maps.
Yeah.
And there's definitely things that are just like
bad,
always going to be different. Like jump triple pre, like it just isn't going to be possible because we don't have triple pre's. And I don't think there's a way to really have that map work without that. So yeah, I mean there are like a few cases like as well. I think it's called Jump that have bounces, and we're thinking about not having bounces in Sticky Jump. Yeah, so some like rare cases that we'll have to think about, but I don't think will be entirely possible.
I wanted to comment on Disrez's thing here, saying that my first map is all Half-Life 2 and CSS textures. Don't know if I can be motivated to port that. That shouldn't be a problem. You can use CSS textures, it's just you can't pack them. And so people need to see those textures will need to have CSS installed. We may have some improvements there in the future. Right now there's like the texture replacement system that is pretty good for making the map playable, it just doesn't look like quite as intended. We may have like full auto replacement stuff in the future, it's just very, very hard to do. So we're absolutely not saying that like you need to replace all the textures in your map. That would be ridiculous. Half-Life 2 is completely fine. Those are just free. Valve let any source mod bundle Half-Life 2 stuff. It's just Counter-Strike Source we can't do. It might be that Momentum Releases does super well and we like chat with Valve as if we'll ever get in the room with Valve, but okay. Maybe one of these days Valve would be like, okay, fine, you can just bundle CSS stuff. We've got enough money already, gouging developers on Steam. You can just have those for free. That's probably not going to happen, but also probably not when I say that. But
making it less likely.
Yeah, I hope Valve never watches any of like your dev streams back on.
Yeah, I'm a bit mean to. Valve make cool stuff, but they are, massively exploitative when it comes to Steam's 30% fee on devs. It's completely unjustifiable, and everyone knows that. Anyway, sorry. No hot takes. I'm trying to move on. The texture stuff I really wouldn't worry about, and we're not going to be horrible about texture stuff, don't worry.
I feel like the only textures that we might really just straight up say no to are like obviously copyrighted textures from like Nintendo games or whatever. Although that might, I don't know, there's some maps that already use that, but That, and I think we want to tell people don't make maps with portal textures because we don't like add that to the list of things that we suggest people mount.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people are gonna have CSS and TF2 and CS:GO are free, but like maybe not portal or portal 2.
That's exactly right. We can make you mount Portal 2, like we can ask people to mount CSS or whatever, but we do plan to have game UI. Actually, hopefully we'll get this for a 10. This is on my to-do list of mappers can say what assets their map uses, just so players know, like, if they're going to launch into a map, if they're going to have the like texture replacement, flat textures, or the kind of grainy or grid texture replacement stuff we have that makes maps like playable. It doesn't look quite as good, but we don't want to. So we'll notify you in saying the map selector, like this map requires CSS textures, and we'll do that for I think CSS, TF2, and probably CS:GO. Though a lot of surf maps and Bhop maps and stuff in CS:GO use CSS textures anyway, and they're made for that. And they, what we don't want to do that with Portal 2 because it's like, we don't want people to have to download Portal 2, right, to play any map or to like see stuff. Well, it's like it's such a random Valve single player game. It's just a bit silly to like even suggest to people that they recommend that they have Portal 2 downloaded. It just sounds annoying, you know. So in those cases, with Portal 2, we probably would be like. But so just to be clear, we're not allowing mappers to bundle textures. So a lot of like CS:GO maps, if you play on a CS:GO server, I guess those don't exist anymore, but you know, they'll have CSS textures in. They're often made for CSS, and CS:GO contains some of CSS's textures actually, but not all of them. And so mappers will typically, in the map file, they pack in the map textures. And we're not allowing that because you are just bundling Valve content that you don't own, and it's probably not really legal, and it's not something. When we're distributing the maps for everyone, we're not going to do that. We're not going to just pick a fight with Valve for no reason. So what we're saying is so in those cases, like if you want to play a CSS map, a map using CSS textures, right? Like you should have Counter-Strike Source installed, and Momentum just mounts those textures. If you don't have the textures, there's this texture replacement thing. It's not that bad. It's just the map doesn't look as intended, so it's still playable. But yeah, we'd still recommend you have CSS. We would love to have a full-on texture replacement thing.
As well.
I could, yeah.
Turn it on in the video settings.
Yeah, so if you go to...
The funniest thing here is that we're watching someone play a map, but it's got Team Fortress Classic textures packed.
Yeah, these ones we probably would allow you to pack, because it's like, I don't think Valve cares that. Maybe that's not being... Wait, how do you, There's a thing... God, the naming in this is so bad.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
We redid the naming of this at one point, and it still sucks. I think the convar that this uses... I think there's a second map. Map error... Texture replacement type. No. Fuck, what is it? Replace... There, this is it. This replaces everything with the error texture, and then it uses the thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I have this on the grid mode. So you might even prefer this. I think this looks kind of better. But so this is going to happen on any map. So we can... this is lighting data, or it's reflectivity data that the map compiler puts in the map file. And that's not something that we're worried about copyright stuff, because it's based on the color of some texture, right? So this way, you don't need to have the texture file, and this is an engine modification that BLT made. So the recolor here is not customizable, because this is based on this is kind of the color that it's sort of intended to be. So yeah, I quite like this. I'll keep this on. Why not? Maybe we should play like a really well-known map. But you know what? I'm gonna play.
Yeah, go to something well-known. I forgot how to play Conc in the 5 minutes it took to finish the map.
Thanks, Seasons. Yes, appreciate it. I'm gonna do an arcane run because I was talking about it. This is Panda's map. This is a classic.
Show it off.
So okay, so this right. This kind of looks good in a way. I kind of like it. So this is what you have.
Flat, not grid. Yeah, just noise.
I've got noise. Yeah. And there's a customizable. You can use like any VTF file that will use that, I think. In fact, I think we wrote that system so people can add it and it will show up in the UI. Even.
There's a console command to change your error texture, I think.
The hop into start zone question, just to answer real quick. I do this. This is a terrible habit that I've developed. That I do this. The limit is 350 units. So I'm lazy and I don't, rather than like learn to pre-strafe because I'm terrible, I just I do that. 010 doesn't allow that. That's one of the things we changed. I forget exactly the way in which we don't allow it, but yeah.
I think Bhop is maybe going to be start on jump.
Yes, I think that's it. Yeah.
We were considering that for surf too, but I don't think we're going to do it. Surf is still going to be start on leave zone.
Okay, I'm going to start resetting. I'm so used to like resetting if I don't do the first. Sorry, I need to turn off the OBS preview. Let me know if like the stream screwed up in some way.
Do we want to go ahead and move to the next question?
Sorry, no, I actually do want to talk a little bit more about this. That's okay. Just in terms of the trying to stay true to the kind of intention of the mapper. This is so Lumper, the thing that I've been working on recently, but that Bird and Jay Padger and Dora, who's new dev who's been working on stuff. Has been Lumper's a way of editing BSP files, which are the compiled map files, right? So these are quite complex formats that like contain a bunch of stuff. They contain like zip files, including in them, like for textures that you bundle, stuff like that, and various other things. They're complicated, and by being able to edit BSP files, you can do things like you can change how entities work a bit. I'll keep going. You can change entity behavior. You can change. You can look at all the textures that are bundled in. We have a system called Tasks, which lets you just automate stuff. Lots of kind of small things, like for instance with music in maps. Like if a map wants to have music, we need to be able to know what audio slider the music should use, right? And so. A lot of maps do have background music. It's quite common in Bhop maps. I don't know why. I don't know why you put music in your maps, to be honest. But okay, some mappers like to do that. They just have like a looping song playing. We want that to be able to be turned off in the music slider, right? Like that's where users would expect that to be, right? But to do that, Source like has weird ways of like deciding if a thing is music or not. There's actually Valve made a quite sensible system that's just sort of file system based, or is based on like where in this like zip file, the pack lump, that pack file, whatever, where in that's like it will decide like the audio channel to put it in, or the mixer or whatever, based on the file name. And so Bray, I think a couple of years ago now, got a bunch of that working. I think it's a system Valve did for CS:GO, right? And we had access to, and we got working. Bray got working. Where am I going? These textures are slightly problematic because I can't tell where.
Oh, okay, yeah, the water does not.
Yeah.
Everything's just brown.
Yeah. Great stuff. So, with music, we expect maps to put their music in the right folder. So like if in the zip file, basically it should be just in a folder called music, right? And that doesn't affect the map in any way. Like the actual gameplay is just like makes it so we can tell where the music comes from. We may have some systems in the future that can kind of automatically detect it, but they're surprisingly hard to get right. So with something like Lumper lets you just modify both that like embedded zip file, right, to just move the contents around. And it can also change like the entities that is responsible for playing that music to like change the path to the audio file it points to. So in those cases, like that's something where any map getting added to Momentum, it will be a rule that if it has music, it needs to have its audio file set up the right way. And anyone submitting a map, if they are an original author or there's someone else that's porting an existing map, they'll be expected to handle the audio that way. But what's nice with Lumper is you don't need to decompile the map and like repack everything or whatever and change all the entities and stuff. You can just change the one BSP file and it's super simple. So I'm sort of rambling. But yeah, map porting, the goal with Lumper there is to just make it so you can do very unintrusive modifications to the map. I'm so frustrated by how slow I'm going.
Next slide, Tom. Next question.
Oh wait. Next question. Someone else read it out.
All right. Gustaf Vaasa the Third asks.
Good name.
could you maybe add a map of the day to this game when it comes out? Same thing as Trackmania has. This way, people are pushed to try new maps.
Yeah. It's also a good way, not just to push people to try new maps, but to, if a mapper spends months making a map, maps take a long time to make, you can make sure that people actually play them. Because you want to promote maps, right?
So we'll definitely be promoting new maps.
Yeah.
I don't know what we decided on in the end, but we were planning on maybe having it opt-in or just on by default that new maps, the leaderboard is like hidden for the first week, so that you can compete and not just be full of people downloading each other's demos and copying each other's routes and whatnot. So there's a bit more competition within the first week, but I'm not sure what we ended up deciding for that, but that was one idea floated around to make it kind of like, like a cup of the day kind of thing, but cup of the week. We've spent a week grinding for the best times on these maps.
Yeah, and those could kind of be like styles. Weirdly, the style system kind of does that because it's a way to like tag a specific run as like being done under certain conditions, and so we actually have a question about styles coming up next, I think, but that way we could like as for the I don't know if we would make that opt-in, and this is something we've not discussed a whole lot, to be honest, in the last like 6 months or so since it got brought up to us, but it's very much something we could do.
The way that I kind of envision it would be like rewarding players for getting in like the top 10 of a map within the first week with I don't know, a little badge or something, like a counter of how many times they've managed to do that, just to sort of reward people who are able to come up with these like creative routes while the leaderboards are still hidden. So it doesn't really stop people from sharing routes, unfortunately, but it's something.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the issues, is you can never like guarantee that people don't just show a replay that they did locally to their friend or whatever. But also having that, right, is like, because that week is like the first time you can do this, that makes it so that map is more people, there can be more eyes on that map when it first gets released, right? That being said, I think that the question is kind of, that's a way that we'd like to promote maps more on launch and stuff, but there's, we could maybe do that with like older existing maps, right? We could have still like a map of the week, and like it could be some less known map that we think like doesn't get played enough, that kind of thing. There's a lot that we could do there. It's not
the cosmetic XP system. We could reward more XP for runs on that map during that week and stuff, just so that if you want to get your cosmetics and whatnot, easy way to get extra XP for it would be to play these mini little week-long tournament things, I guess.
Yeah, and also just like Momentum is going to have a lot of maps, and being able to like pick at specific bits of stuff and not just be overwhelmed by endless maps seems really nice. So we don't necessarily. This is the kind of thing that is mostly web work, which is all open source, and something where if people wanted to work on this, open source contributors wanted to work on this, that'd be awesome. Maybe we would end up getting something like this in. We're kind of thinking that way towards playlists. Is something that like is not high priority for us right now, doing map playlists, but is mostly web work. And if we had web people that were interested in working on playlists, like we'd be very keen to work with them on that. And I kind of event stuff like this, like for one, we haven't done like a kind of technical design for it yet, and we would and will, I assume, need to sit down and do that at some point.
We have tech specs for every big sort of feature that we do. We sit down in the meetings and discuss how we're going to implement everything.
Really boring, but it's really important because that way you spend your time writing code.
There's a lot of those features that we've just not even looked at yet. We've got a general idea, but nothing solid.
Yeah, but it's definitely a good idea. I mean,
I feel like we get a lot of suggestions like this where we'll get questions in like a Q&A stream. It's like, can you do this? And the answer is always like, yeah, we can do it. And it starts to feel like all these things kind of pile up. So like realistically, a lot of this stuff, we can do it, but almost all of it is going to be a post 1.0 thing unless someone just kind of randomly decides to work on it before then. So like a lot of the times the answer to feature requests is like, yes, just not anytime soon.
There's no...
Yeah, we want the base, just like leaderboards and everything working first, just a good gameplay experience that you'd equate with just playing on.
The most important thing for us right now is getting 1.0 out, right? Is getting the game out in a public state where times are consistent, and things like this, like having lead devs work on that, just, it's not something we need for 1.0, so we don't tend to work on it. Like I'm saying, like because it is an open source thing, and a lot of like with web stuff, if people do want to work on that, like by all means we could get started on it if it's non-licensee people working on it. And for instance, like I'm licensed, but I mostly do web work, but I would not work on this before 1.0 because I could be doing game work. Like I'm slower at game work than I am web stuff because I'm more of a web developer than I am a game programmer, to my constant frustration. But you know, I'd still rather spend the time doing game programming, working on stuff that gets 1.0 out faster than do this. But I mean, this is a really nice feature, both in that it gets more eyes on maps, and obviously we really want to promote new maps. Mapping takes loads of time and dedication and time to learn how to map and then actually make the map. Also, like good maps, we want to make sure people play like a ton. And yeah, all sorts of reasons why this would be great to have. It's just not something we're gonna put a ton of thought into. Well, we'll put thought into it if people actually seem like they're gonna work on it, but we're not gonna spend hours drafting a tech spec. What am I doing? Until we're kind of close to working on it, or someone's interested in working on it. But yeah, I think that's most of the answer there. Right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be like Trackmania because Trackmania just has a much nicer map creation thing, so you can spam maps out much quicker. But yeah, mapping for source takes a long time, so it wouldn't be quite the same.
Mm-hmm.
But we try and sort of get the similar vibe across.
Yeah. Not a good stage 4. I was going to say, shall we move on? And it's me that decides that.
Yeah, you're...
Okay, there we go.
Slideshow.
Someone say the question so I can try to do this horrible stage. God damn it, Panzer.
Yeah, so William asks, what things have been changed or fixed for the different game modes relative to where they're originally played?
Ooh.
Is there any documentation for this? We could probably talk about this for like literally hours.
Well, I think
we've changed
we do.
Like rationale for why.
We don't have that many questions. I think we should go through some of these. I'd like to just do the docs thing first. This is something that we should do more. And our docs...
Have we got docs on what's changed?
On game mode stuff, we don't have that much. And we should do more. And I'm really hoping that with 010 map porting stuff, and then game mode hub page coming out after 010, like we start doing... Not necessarily docs, like some aspects of like game mode info, like I really want to have in-game. Like the game mode hub page can have like a little info bit that like you press the info button, it takes you to like a sub page of the game mode hub that says like, you know, bits about the history of the mode and the, you know, it might mention some differences Momentum makes. Generally, we don't try to make super big differences, you know, we try to keep relatively true to the original mode. But
yeah, they feel pretty much one-to-one. We just get rid of the annoying aspects of them that just make speedrunning inconsistent, because we are a speedrunning game, right? Like, we just want everything to feel consistent, and there's a lot of random inconsistencies in the source engine.
Also, we want anti-cheat, and so for Momentum, we don't really have many physics in any of these modes. The only mode that has significant physics is Sticky Jump, because it has rollers, so stickies that like don't get stick. Stickies.
Okay.
Stickies that don't get stick. And we need those use V physics, which is shit and inconsistent. In that it's like not consistent, it's random. There's actual randomness to it. Non-deterministic, yeah. I did a fucking philosophy degree and I forgot that word.
Yeah, Sticky Jump is definitely one of the problem game modes.
Yeah. Well,
where like you have that
the most visibly.
Yeah. But in a significant way, we will actually be changing Sticky Jump to use a different physics system. This is work that Rio started working on, who's not a Sticky Jump player, but we've discussed this quite a bit, right? I think you've given it your seal of approval, I think, Brad.
It is live in the game. It's already in the game.
Oh, is it?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I kind of forgot too, but yeah, it's in the game. It's on by default.
I forgot about that.
By default?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to play some SG now. I swear it wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching someone play it last night, and I don't think he had to change any settings to turn it on. So,
Pog.
I'm not sure if there even is a setting to turn the RNG back on. I think it's just that's how it is now.
Cool. And so, whilst we don't want to say too much about our anti-cheat, part of it does involve just replaying replays and checking that they're consistent. So if you do a run that cannot be replicated, that is not considered a valid run. And therefore, randomness, like proper indeterminacy, is really annoying. And so, whilst generally we do try to stay very true to those modes, doing a deterministic sticky physics.
I don't think it's on by default, by the way. We have like the minor change that makes rollers slightly more consistent because they're like actually spheres now instead of.
Okay. But fundamentally, like v-physics simulations are not deterministic, right? So there is still, I think, even if you like remove a lot of the kind of supposed randomness from them. Am I right about this, Brian? I mean, you could know this better than me. Like, you still won't expect them to be completely consistent, right?
Well, yeah, that was a question I did have because they're pretty like player-facing wise deterministic, but whether or not they are 100% deterministic enough to like validate a run like that.
That's the thing.
I'm not sure.
We are wanting hardcore determinism. Like if it isn't deterministic, you expect it to sort of fail tests and things like that. Like
yeah, exactly.
And I assume we'll be testing this stuff quite a lot. That'll be fun to.
But yeah, from a player-facing view, it is. Yeah.
Sure. But then in terms of other modes, I'd like, I guess, Ahop briefly. Ahop's quite a fun one because it comes from.
Oh, I mean, there's Sticky Jump as well as others.
Oh, there's more stuff for Sticky Jump.
Well, it's just because Sticky Jump, like the way it kind of developed was very heavily dependent on how much HP a demo has.
Yeah.
So removing HP really changes the mode in like fundamental ways. And like changes how maps are played in fundamental ways. So it's been kind of a big challenge with Sticky Jump specifically.
Yeah. And this is really kind of, for several modes, this is the main change, is that we don't have health.
There's like and there's lots of like knock-ons. Like I think the way we have it now is we just have, you can have 3 stickies out, but then you can get way more speed than you can usually get because you can't just hit 3 stickies like directly on top of a demo man and survive. But having like a 3 sticky max is also a problem because there's a lot of like pretty complex pogo because like the shoot time is less than the arm time for a sticky. So you can in some situations have 4 stickies out and like det 2 and then pogo like that. So
yeah,
I mean having like a limit of 3 is problematic in that way. So yeah, just trying to find like a nice medium has been quite difficult.
I think it's probably fair to say Sticky Jump has been the most difficult, right? Maybe not. Maybe Defrag. I mean, Defrag's a different engine. Well, really complicated, but
I think because a lot of like concessions were made for Defrag. It sounds like added back ammo and stuff because that's just kind of part of Defrag, and you can't really remove that.
Yeah, and we might have become a bit more relaxed when it comes to concessions.
The ammo system for Defrag was definitely necessary for Defrag, but I also feel like it's gonna end up being better for all the other game modes too.
Yeah,
than what we had planned originally.
We had
like I think I talked about this like 2 years ago or something, where like the shot limit trigger idea that we had originally was kind of just an ammo system anyway. It was just less usable. So
I agree. Yeah, it's more complicated and
like all the same logic was there, but it was kind of like forced to be tied to these like volume triggers. So it's kind of funny because I feel like Defrag has had to make a lot of concessions to the like Bhop and surf based design of Momentum mod as well. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, I definitely don't think we've got everything right, and I think we probably could have been more ready to concede more to some of the TF2 modes. I guess with the history of Momentum, I mean, like Surf and Bhop were in many ways a lot easier. Like there's fewer concessions to consider there. There's really not very many significant changes between Momentum, Surf, and Bhop and Counter-Strike Source. I'm trying to think of stuff. Is there anything? We have Auto Hop, but those have Auto Hop as well.
Yeah, it's just not a lot of things that get affected by
the only
stuff
thing
like removing health.
Like
Yeah.
seriously different is the ramp fix stuff, where you don't get as much speed from not jumping up slopes in Momentum now. I think that's like the only real big difference.
Yeah, there's slope fix stuff and RNG fix, or I don't understand that stuff to be honest. Rio's not here. Rio's really good. Let's watch some Defrag. Got some weird UI. Nice.
Oh yeah,
but
I
then
think since the last Q&A we've added jump sounds to Defrag, haven't we? That's new.
you have to turn them on. The
landing
problem is
sound.
if I turn them on.
Yeah, you're gonna get the.
not the Quaalude guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't turn.
Wait.
Oh no.
I don't have audio. No, it's is it jump sound?
There's jump and land sound.
Did it change? It might not work. I have audio.
It doesn't work in spec. I think you have to do it. I
Oh.
think you'll have to play. Yeah.
Why does it work in
not network.
spec? Oh,
Because
ghost.
nothing's network, Tom.
Jumps. I need to show it off in Ahop.
Oh god.
Oh god.
It's really funny because I use Tom's stream a lot for just like background noise when they're doing web dev, and then they'll just randomly load Ahop without saying anything, and I just hear
Yeah.
I have the same experience.
just randomly in the background every time.
I've gotten used to it as well.
I'm glad people are using jump sounds in other modes. I actually just was talking to Rio about this. I'm still like kind of skeptical that people who play Bhop or Ahop will actually like having jump sounds at all, because normally there aren't any in those games. So.
I quite like them. I
I
quite
think
like.
from SJ is like you don't even jump anyways.
I
Like
think
most
it just
a
needs
lot
to
of
be
maps are barely any
really
jumping.
mild. I think we should probably just make them configurable and just have a bunch. If we actually
Yeah, I
have,
just
like,
quite like having landing sounds as well because it just makes.
Yeah,
kind of
landing
feel like
sounds
it has
are
more
really
weight.
nice.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
surface props kind of do that, right? That's just a sound that materials make. When
Well,
you
they
hit them.
play the same
Well,
sound.
they play
even
the
if you fall.
footstep sound.
Yeah, footstep when you
Yeah.
fall 200 feet.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like this for anyone else, but for me the footsteps are like nearly inaudible. I have to turn my
Yeah,
volume down
yeah.
to even hear
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, but so
Most of the time,
having
humans will not be there.
The leg crunch sound.
That's
Oh, let's add it
a
back.
classic. Ooh.
To kind of go back to the original question, though, probably the most comprehensive documentation, if you can call it that, of what we've changed for each mode is contained in the mode var system right now. I don't remember what the command is, but there's a command to list all of them. And that's kind of the only good way to get an idea, all in one place, of what's changed. At some point, though, we probably should, one, all of those CVARs need to be updated in the documentation, because most of it's not up to date. And then two, we probably should just have like a central place that has like,
Yeah.
here's what's different between these modes, because there are quite a lot of like subtle differences in like especially
Yeah,
Defrag,
I mean,
but
I
some of the
think
other modes
I
too.
think it should be in the game UI. Like, I think it should.
Yeah,
the stuff that's
somewhere.
well written. Like, there's not really a reason to not just put it in panorama. Just don't put it somewhere like. Don't fill someone's screen with text. I mean, gamers can't read. That's game design 101. But like, you can still put it in like subtle places, and then have them. Ooh.
This map was inspired by Fry.
Yeah.
Some Futurama.
I'm sorry.
Is that audible on the stream?
Yeah, I think so.
It must be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Odd samples
I
are pretty
think
good.
the best way to show off every change, you can make it a splash when map loads. Yeah, definitely.
It would be nice
Like
to
this-
actually have more stuff in the loading screen, I think, yeah. What should we watch? What game mode haven't we shown at all? So I want to play some surf?
I mean, you were just watching Defrag for about 3 seconds before
Oh,
switching
that's
to
true.
Ahop, but
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's watch forward.
and Nathan's
Yeah.
very
No,
smooth,
it's good.
good
No.
background.
Yeah, we'll have the other defrag mode in no time. That'd be good.
Your HUD is so fucked.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff on it. The HUD, like, we're gonna make the HUD so much better after I10. Like, HUD stuff is, like, in this weird spot because we don't want to... We have this goal of HUD Customizer, which is a way to, like, just move everything around on the HUD, but I've not had time to work on it. Mac is considering adopting it, but we need to learn JavaScript first.
Yeah, it's quite a big project, but
yeah.
maybe.
If anyone else is interested in doing this, like, we genuinely... Especially if you're a JS person, then give me a shout, because I'm happy, like, yeah, letting someone else take over that project. Where it's basically, you can just move everything in the HUD around, just drag it around and put it everywhere, and it's got snapping and resizing and stuff. It's the goal. And so one of the reasons the HUD feels a bit sort of jumbled right now is we're kind of being a bit sort of maximalist. We don't mind having lots of stuff right now, and then in the future it will all be sort of move around, and you can turn stuff on and off or whatever, and it's that's what I don't have. Yeah, I should play with, like, snaps, but not
Seagaz is terrible, and then...
What do you mean? How dare you?
Not using Prime Site.
Who's that? The defrag UI is too
Oh
complicated.
god, not the defrag settings.
Okay, I've got Prime Site. Oh my god.
Yeah, to make sure you turn off CGAS. It's blasphemous to have CGAS and Prime Site at the same time.
Why do we let Ellis do this? He's making all these things.
It's so much better than Seagaz.
I love that, like, when we started in Defrag, we were worried we wouldn't have, like, all the important UI, and then we brought Pinsqueaker on, and he's done so much. Like, it's really well made as well. Like, you read the code, and it's like, wow, this is really clean. But it's like, the settings needs a bit of... I mean, it's actually not that bad, because you can just turn stuff on and off or whatever, but it's like, oh my god. It's still a bit much. We're going to do some work on the settings as well in the future. UI stuff, we're just not really touching UI until post.10, and we'll come back to it. And we'll have TypeScript. Well, we already have TypeScript, but nothing's actually typed, so that'll be fun. Shall we move on?
Yep.
By the way, if people want to put other questions people ask on the slides, they can, because I'm doing it differently from how Nick does it. So this is, like, unviewable, I think. Where did we do...
We're on.
Yeah, we just did William's question.
Okay.
So the next one.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
is
the next
Happy...
question-
Happy's not here, is he?
He's in the chat.
Yeah.
He's gone to bed.
Did you misspell this, Mac, or did Uberosh? Oh, Happy's ill. Yeah. Happy hurt his tooth.
I just copy pasted it, so
Okay.
I probably should have spell checked, but I didn't bother.
Okay. Well, someone read that out while I actually
Yeah,
drink my
the
coffee.
question is, so Uberosh asks, did you guys consider to make a map for the future campaign where the music or soundtrack is synchronized with the environment?
I guess depends if Happy's gonna die or not.
Yeah. But, I mean, right now, we're not thinking about campaign very much, to be completely honest. Happy's been doing some music work. Happy's been working on the main menu stuff. But that's great. I think we're really happy that we're doing that stuff and not the campaign stuff, like campaign music, because that's a massive project, and campaign is 700 years away. So, you know.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what you mean by synchronized. I guess just like different music for different areas. I think it would be a lot harder if you wanted to have like rhythm game type gameplay where you actually synchronized in-game actions with the beat of the music. I'm not sure how you'd do that.
You need a very flat Bhop map.
Yeah,
It's important to
but-
keep in mind that Source's sound system was written by an alien. So
Yeah. Well, written by a non-programmer.
was it?
So it's pretty wild.
Source has some
Yeah.
really cool sound stuff, but it's quite esoteric. I've always really.
I don't know if any of it's really cool, but
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
Okay. I thought some of it was supposedly kind of good, but okay.
I
Maybe
don't know,
it's-
maybe.
Maybe it
Happy
sucks.
says maps textures synchronized with the music. That also seems like it would be kind of difficult. I feel like that would desynchronize over time.
Well, there's material properties that can kind of do that, maybe, but
I don't know how you get them to hook up to the music though. Maybe.
it's probably possible.
I mean, there's
we
a
have
lot of,
engine.
like-
It's just quite a big thing, and this is the kind of thing that's a good pet project for someone, but it's like, you know, it's not someone wants
Valve
to do
does it well, and I think
You know.
mainly what they're doing is just triggers for sound events. But
Yeah, real quick, Private
Yeah,
Satan. We're never getting SFM code, and I hope we never do, because then
Yeah.
Oski will do nothing but mess with SFM. I mean that in the nicest way. I
Yeah,
hope that,
yeah.
I hope that Oski's not offended by that, but no.
Yeah.
SFM would be a really big time
It's a
sink
waste
for
of
us,
time.
and I know that it would theoretically be useful for P2CE, but like Momentum would
so
never
much.
use it.
Yeah, and it's the thing with like we are a small team, and like game engine dev is. It's one of the most compelling and enjoyable and terrifying, complicated like areas of programming there is. Like it's there's so much you can sink time into, and like things like sound systems, like Sources is quite esoteric, I think, and like us making like really major new features on top of it sounds spooky. I mean, we could probably do it, but like I always like the idea that like we have some kind of like surf noises of like synthesizer stuff that's like based on like how good your sync is and stuff, and you get like nice warm sounds if it's like if your sync's good, that kind of thing. But like
yeah, it could like change pitch and shit.
well, yeah, but I was
The
thinking like you
Tony
actually
Hawk
like
gap sound for some things. That'd be sick.
But I was wondering about you just like real time, just dynamically generating waveforms, and I don't think there's a way to do that in Source. I think I asked about this in
No.
the licensees. No one knew. But you know, you can kind of imagine like trying to like get these kind of like lots of
put
complex
a DAW on
variables that
Source.
like all sort of But there's so much cool stuff you can do there, and lots of games do. I was at the end of the map. I didn't even realize. It's just a big hole. Good job. But like. A lot of this stuff is like it's just very involved, and if you could have like if Source was open source, like you could imagine like people doing sort of cool stuff with this kind of thing, but unfortunately it isn't, and this is like low level engine stuff usually, as far as I know. Maybe it isn't. Maybe you can like just hook up to certain stuff and do some whole separate sound thing, but
The one sound feature I would look to see is the Doppler shift for projectiles, because that's just it's too good to not
it's cool.
have.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they already have. They have stuff for that. Yeah.
There is a way to have like separate sounds depending on whether something's approaching or leaving you, but I don't think it's like dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
You're not.
I
gonna
think it
get
is.
the, like, is
for
it?
Source.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I looked at
there's
the
like
documentation. It didn't really.
There's a
specify.
flag, I think, for that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just smoking. I don't know.
Not a big priority,
You are
but I would like to
smoking,
see
bro.
it someday.
I don't know. I haven't looked at code for quite a while, so
Yeah, you get to work with like a decent engine.
yeah, it's great.
When is Source gonna get ECS?
That's the other thing with the source engine is that any sufficiently large refactor, you might as well just write a new engine. Like, don't even bother.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
and
there's
I
no real
think
point in trying to like gut the engine and make it into something else. Just start from scratch.
right, and I think Valve did that with at least a lot of parts of Source 2. I don't know how much of Source 1 is in there. I'm sure they kept some stuff, but like that's the thing with like game engine. It's like it's so easy to like theorize about game engine, try to think of like the perfect ways of doing certain things, and like what's the YouTube the interviews of Rust programmer thing. Oh yeah, we have 5 games made in Rust and 50 game engines. And it's like there's game engine programming is like, oh, it's so compelling. I wish I could do game engine programming like all day long instead of TypeScript garbage. But like there's so much stuff here that's like there's so much you can do, and like ways you can try to engineer systems that's like so I don't know. I love thinking about like designing complex systems, right? And I think loads of programmers do. and like game stuff, or like entity component systems and stuff. They're like it's nice to spend time thinking on that kind of thing, right? But don't actually spend all your time on that if you want to actually make a game, because you won't actually make a game if you do that. You'll just
download Rust and then
you'll make game engines that no one ever uses, and like game engine is like game development is very different from writing game engines or like theorizing about game engines, right? Because game development is messy as all fuck. Like it's just like
I think like that's one of a criticism that I think you and I have, and probably other people, about like our development. It's kind of felt more of like an engine development rather than like hey,
I think
we're making a game here.
We've definitely
right?
gotten better at it, but I think especially when we got given engine access from Valve, like there was quite a lot of time that was spent like playing around with the engine and refactoring engine stuff, because it's this big shiny thing that we've got, and like it's fun. Like engine dev is like genuinely like it's hard, and it's like, but it's like intellectually challenging in a really great way, doing game engine stuff. And like loads of this work, especially like Oski's done some really cool systems, and does also do really meaningful work towards PDCE, and Oski's great. Like Oski's genuinely like amazing to work with, and
that's not to say that like engine
yeah.
stuff doesn't directly benefit the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
and things like
we have lots of like
the map size limit thing could never exist if
yeah,
it wasn't for people that had a really, really deep understanding of the source engine, doing work that is like properly difficult, like challenging work. It's just making games is much more of a hodgepodge mesh of all sorts of different things, and it's about so much of what's hard about it is organization, not like ability. Like it's not about how good at programming you are, it's about how ready you are to sort of sit down with a bunch of different people all working on different things and like turn that into a coherent whole. And I think we've gotten better at that, but it's still not something that you can take for granted. Like I can learn, some new programming stuff in a couple of weeks. Like if I need to learn reactive UI or whatever for working on Lumper, like I can do that, and it's like it's enjoyable, and it's like a sort of intellectually challenging thing or whatever. But like when it comes like actually making like a game as opposed to making some like engine tool, right? Like it's a completely different ballpark, and it's I think a lot of game programmers like to think that they are. I'm not someone that has the capacity to say this, I want to say it anyway. Game programmers who think that they're game developers because they're good engine programmers, whilst game development is... Everyone sucks at game development. It seems like game development is so hard. Like I like making tools and file formats, not games. Just game chaos. Exactly. Specking a file format, beautiful. Oh, I'll sit down and do that any day. Happy to do it. Oh, we'll make it like compress well and whatever. But like making an actual game, brutal, absolutely brutal. Anyway, it's also really fun, and I love it, and I love the human aspect of it, and working with a team of people with expertise in different areas. I find that really, really enjoyable. However, I wish we could get fucking paid for it. Anyway, should we move on?
Yeah.
Cool. Where are we at? Sorry, the
question is from Skin.
Skin, yeah. Did you guys ever consider adding different styles for game modes? I had to ping this person to ask what they meant, and they mean like half sideways. And so yes. So I'm going to explain the whole thing here because it's not too complicated. So when we started designing 010, we had this. We knew we wanted to have game modes that can like. We wanted to do things like maybe have... So Defrag, for instance, has two different physics. It's got VQ3 and CPM. This is CPM, which gives you more air control and stuff. And we knew we wanted to do these kind of different physics things, right? And we have like game modes right now in Momentum. If you look at like the game mode thing, we've got... These are all the game modes, right? And besides Trick Surf, they're all kind of separate things. And at first, we weren't even sure how we were going to break up Defrag, right? Because we know we want Defrag to have VQ3 and CPM. They're two different physics. Do they fall under the same game mode and just have different kind of subcategories? Similarly with Climb, Game Chaos and Chat. Game Chaos has been doing lots of this Climb work. We basically... we spent a while trying to convince ourselves that we were going to successfully somehow combine the 3 most popular climb variants into one thing that made everyone happy, as if that would ever work. And we've decided we're not doing that when we're doing 3 climb modes. And so the decision we made there is the physics differences, the things that like significantly change, just like how moving around in the game works. Those are always separate game modes, or we call them sub modes. We might change the terminology, or at least I might start saying that we should. I don't know. I've not. I should turn actual textures on. I just. I'll do after this. So something like CPM, VQ3, different turning, and Defrag, those are just 2 different game modes. And in UI and stuff, we'll sort of group them. And so we might, maybe, I'm thinking we should start calling them like game mode categories and game modes. And so CPM, VQ3 are just different game modes. Or we keep calling them sub modes, and then game modes are like the umbrella thing. I don't know. Maybe sub modes and game mode categories, something like that. So that's how we break up game modes, if that makes any sense. So game modes are like physics differences are just separate game modes. So for instance, with surf, if we were to do 100 tick surf, which we're probably not, but let's say we do. So surf is normally 66 tick, 100 tick gives you just more control, you get more speed through turning and stuff because of how our accelerator works. If we were to do 100 tick surf, it would be a separate sub mode or game mode, whatever we call it. So there'd be regular surf and 100 tick surf. That was what we ended up deciding for like the physics differences, right? Then you get things that are not physics differences. You get things like sideways. Can we play some surf? Is anyone actually good at half sideways? Because I'm not.
I can't surf at the best of times.
Any surf people? Yeah. Well, let's do an easy map, and I'll show it off a bit on. I don't know. What are people like? Mesa? Why not? So there's some ways you can play surf, and this is also the case in Bhop. Let me do this as well. What am I doing? This, reload. Okay. Cool. That's actually the map. So with surf, normal surf, you just do. You just
got the jump
the
sound.
jump sound. Yeah. Normal surf, you just do ooh. You tend to surf. It's always hard to explain surf, but I'm just holding A here and I move around and I do this. And if I want to turn rightwards, I need to switch to holding D. And you get this. You then get half sideways, which I'm bad at, and I'll do it this way. So half sideways is you go like this, and you're holding. You can see the new key press UI, which kind of shows it on the bottom right here. Well, there's 2 different UIs on the same thing right now. But so this is half sideways. Hopefully it makes sense where it's half sideways. Sideways is like the default, right? Half sideways is that. Sorry if you already know all this. There's also backwards half sideways, which I think is like this. Wait, let me make a start mark.
Sideways when you hold just W.
Sideways is W, yeah. So there's
W,
sideways.
I
used to see people do this quite a lot playing combat surf. I don't know why. I don't think it's actually better, but like surf, great river extreme, you see people do that, or maybe somewhat half sideways as well. But anyway, so half sideways you can do this. You can also sort of surf this way by holding S and B, and so this doesn't change the physics. This is just like this is just the keys you're pressing, and so like there's no need to do B-hops half sideways. In fact, what I could do, why don't I do this, is we have a map, Hostiles, this terrible map.
It's
since Sane's been done sideways, that's crazy. I'd love to see someone do it in Momentum. I've seen Crash Fort do the half sideways insane bonus, which is disgusting. Okay, I assume this is legit. Let's get rid of that. So this is sideways, right? This map, we have triggers in Momentum that will limit the types of movement you can do. So this is a map that would be, in our system, would be a regular sideways run because it's a mixture of everything. But like it forces you to, this is I think backwards sideways, right? Backwards sideways, I think? No, this is backwards.
WS only.
Oh, right, okay. And so, but basically, so styles here, are the base physics are the same. So this is still regular B-hop. It's just that you're sort of limiting how you move, right? And so what we've decided for O10 is, like I said, the game modes get split up in terms of different physics. While things like sideways, these are styles. This is what so our styles are basically like existing servers do styles. It's just different game modes will have different styles available to them. And just like existing servers do, we'll be auto-detecting, like, if you do a run in a certain style, right? So if you start doing stuff sideways, the run will stop being say you do a run mostly half sideways, but you go sideways for a bit, then it would be just a sideways run. And that's a sort of property of it, right? Is that, like, a half sideways run will, in our system, count as a sideways run. And it'll actually show up on that leaderboard, which is a bit weird. But we decided to do it because it kind of, like, if you do complete a map, like, half sideways, like, you've completed the map, right? And so we're not giving...
All right. Is sideways A and D or W and S? I thought it was W and S.
No, sideways isn't, like... No. No? Is it? I thought sideways was the default.
No?
I thought sideways is just what people call it. Like, sideways is just... you. But, oh, sorry. I mean just, like, normal stuff. I'll just say normal for now. And oh, this is the end? No. I just, like, got a text.
No. What a great run up until the end room, and they just cringe it.
Yeah. I know, you gotta... What? Okay. Let's see... I might just watch a few replays of, like, some fun maps, because why not? I just...
Yeah, it's something long.
This is not long, but this map's really cool, so let's just shut. I don't know... this is legit. We have some cheated runs on leaderboards, we don't care, like... Oh. I think that's cheated. Or maybe it's just... Can you... Wait. No, I think it is, yeah. Buzz
You
is
think
legit.
this is cheated?
I thought maybe there's some exploit in the map that, like, everyone's using. Like, some maps have. Like, least rise of momentum, like, everyone just cheats. This says portals, by the way. We were going to talk about portals before when we were playing on Bhop Parallel. Momentum has portals from Portal 2. We have that code legally, so you can just put portals in your map. They don't look like portals, but they have the behavior right of the view stuff and all that. So, sorry, I'm being really long-winded with the styles thing, but basically, styles kind of, certain styles count as normal runs. And so a backwards half sideways run counts as a normal run. And so they'll kind of show up on a normal leaderboard. That way, like, you'll see someone's, like, half sideways run, and it will just have, like, a tag that says, like, it was done half sideways. So you can see it on that leaderboard, like, compared to everything else. I could be getting this wrong, but I think styles don't give you rank points. I think that's what we decided. I could be wrong there. And as such, what am I saying? I'm tired. The way you just get rank points for, like, how the thing is placed on the normal leaderboard. I think that's correct. This also works for climb. I think climb should work. So climb has pro mode. I'm probably getting this wrong. Game Chaos is in chat and can correct me. Climb has, I think, pro mode, which is... I'm not a climb player. Please, if I get something wrong here, I'm not the one making decisions about climb. Don't worry. Someone was angry in the YouTube comments the other, like, on one of them, where they're like, "Oh, this person doesn't know anything about climb. Climb's gonna suck." Like, because it was me and Nick were both talking about climb, and neither of us know anything about climb. We're not deciding stuff about climb. Like, Game Chaos is everyone knows Game Chaos. He's really good at this stuff. He makes all the decisions. Well, not all of them, but, like, is the main person, like, making decisions. Not me and Nick, who don't know a slightest thing about climb. That's not quite true, but, like, we're idiots. So don't worry. We're not going to ruin climb, because we can't. We're not allowed to. It's Game Chaos is just us, kind of. Anyway, so climb has pro mode, and pro mode is when you don't use the teleport thing. So climb kind of has, like, save locks, right? You can, if you miss a jump, you can go back to where you were. And a lot of climb maps have, like, horribly hard jumps. Or, like, not necessarily horribly hard, but, like, it's, like, doing the whole thing consistent. It's like a nightmare, and you can, like, there's often sections where, like, if you fall, you go back, like, a minute or whatever. And so I think the idea was the default climb style will be when you can use teleports, but then pro mode as a style is when you don't use teleports. And then, so if you do a run in pro mode, it gets added to both leaderboards, and so if you were to get world record and you don't use any teleports, which is probably faster, right, if you can do the whole thing perfectly, it's going to show up on the regular leaderboard as being done in pro mode, but also you can look at the pro mode only leaderboard. I think that's correct, and I think that makes sense. GameQuest, you can correct me there, but I think I'm right about that, right? And that kind of makes sense with the style system.
Right.
Yeah.
To my brain, yeah.
And so styles works quite elegantly for surf and Bhop in half sideways, that kind of thing. Promo, stuff like that. In climb, and what is it? I lose track of. I don't think what other modes have. We could maybe do Ahop no plus strafe, but it doesn't really matter. But like it kind of the point is that like adding a style shouldn't like matter that much because it just gets its own style leaderboard and then it's a tag on the main leaderboard. So like it doesn't. You don't need to really care about style stuff if you don't care. But if you do care, it gets a dedicated style leaderboard. So there's a half sideways only leaderboard. It's just a half sideways runs also showed up on the main leaderboard. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that's correct.
As long as your half sideways time is your actual PR, right? Like if you've not set a fast
exactly.
Time,
yeah, no. If you have a better normal time, then that would be the one that shows up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's quite nice with climb, right? Because it should mean that a pro mode run, which presumably on some maps the fastest completion is going to be one that doesn't use the TP menu at all, right? Because presumably that slows you down a tiny bit because you do the same jump again. I'm going to just show more maps. Why not? We can't do Christmas. That's not Christmas.
We haven't shown any surf yet, have we?
Rellert has suggested that we add no jump mode or no jump style for rocket jump and sticky jump.
Right, that could work, right? I don't know why you do that, but some people might want to do that. So
remember, TF2 players are goblins.
I forgot about that. They are. They're just disgusting people. No, let's just show Valpec. Valpec is such a good map. This map's been out for ages and isn't like momentum or specific or anything, but yeah, like hopefully that system works well. We're not spoken about styles for a while, but I think I'm getting all that right, and that makes sense. And so styles should be fairly casual. Like we could add a style and it's not affecting the base thing. It just becomes a tag for running that thing. And so we're not doing styles for a 10. Styles is one of the things that in something like stage leaderboards we are doing for a 10 because it didn't really make sense to leave them for later because so much of the systems we're doing for a 10 like touch on that. Styles is kind of the same, but there's some kind of separate stuff like the style detection thing and actually picking the styles. We didn't want to add even more stuff to O10, so we didn't do that. But it will probably be O11, and that makes some sense because we want to do maybe replay related. Because we want to be able to look at a replay file and determine what styles the run was done in, right, just by analyzing it. Hopefully that's a... And then just to be clear, so like something like, you know, in Rocket Jump, Beggars, if we do Beggars Bazooka stuff in Rocket Jump, that would be a separate sub-mode if we ever do it. We discussed it a bit today, actually. So like, anything physics-based, like a really significant alteration, that's not a style. We'd much rather do more game modes, and we're quite willing with the new system to have like more sub-modes and things. We don't want to muddy those two distinctions, right, between the physics-altering things and the... I think there are a few things that are a bit more complicated. Isn't there, fuck, what is it? There's some other thing we were...
Tick rates? What are we going to do with tick rates?
Tick rates would be sub-modes, because it's a physics thing. Make sense?
Are we actually going to make separate game modes for, like, 100, 128?
We probably won't,
whatever.
because we probably won't do leaderboards for it. We may do 100, but I don't think we're definitely not committing to doing any besides 66. We may do other ones, but maybe 100. But what's a map we could watch? Let's watch someone play Farmer because it's really long. Auto hop and KZ, I can't remember auto hop stuff in different modes. Oh my god, it's long. Is this a legit run, do you think? I hope so. Okay, shall we continue there? Hopefully that's a reasonable explanation of styles.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Cool. On y va. Wait,
So
I need
our
to.
next question. Can I read it?
Yeah, can people that Mac or someone, can you add some more questions to the slides, please? Stuff from the people have asked in chat. You can just bung them in.
Do we have them written somewhere?
Yeah, and the
There's a
voice
few
team.
in voice
There's a
team.
couple. If people have more questions, feel free to give them in chat, and we'll do them. How long have we been going? I can't even see. Getting on for 2 hours. We'll probably go for another half hour at least. So. Mapping competitions.
Yeah, so do you guys plan on hosting mapping contests for modes, kind of like how KSF hosted a Halloween mapping contest? And if so, how often will they be hosted? I don't think we're hosting our own competitions there. Maybe mapping competitions?
Yeah, I think mapping stuff we were a little bit more keen on. We've answered this before, especially when Nick's been around, and I think Nick's probably has more to say about this than maybe the rest of us. The point I've made in some cases when it comes to competitions is not so much mapping competitions, but like tournaments. I think it's more important for us to focus on providing good tools for tournament organizers than it is for us to organize them ourselves. Especially because organizing tournaments, there's a lot of other production stuff that goes into it that we don't necessarily have any experience with. So us giving like really good spec tools and things like that and being able to be responsive to what tournament organizers want from us, I think is more important than us doing lots of that organization ourselves, because any kind of event organization is hard. Like, it's a lot of spreadsheets and organization, and it's a nightmare. I've done it. Like, mapping contests, I think we could be more casual with, though, right? Like, we could maybe do something, but I think, again, it's like, it seems more important that we just make sure that the maps, if there are mapping contests, that like it shows up well in game UI, for instance, stuff like that, or at least we promote it well. Like, I'm personally at least more interested in doing the technical sides of it well, and in some cases being able to just be responsive to what we're being asked of by people organizing mapping contests or tournaments or whatever. Then I think that's more important than us doing the organization. But I mean, mapping contests are great though, and like definitely we can do things like map tags are a bit complicated, and maybe exactly how we show content. It would kind of be nice to have dedicated UI for mapping contests. At least like playlists could do it. And maybe having some specific map submission behavior for it would be something we could think about. So stuff related to our backend, like.
I think sometimes I think about the kind of long term of the game within the 5, 10, 15 years after it releases. I mean, who knows if any of us are still going to be here. The Momentum team at that time might be an entirely different set of people. I could see us doing, maybe hosting competitions further on into the game's lifespan, like post 2.0, when the game is really pretty much just done. And then, whoever is running Momentum mod at that time, maybe they could pivot to doing community organized events and stuff. But until the game is done, our focus is really going to be development.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. And it's just it's maybe a trap to fall into, because you're a game developer doesn't necessarily mean you can do good event organization. Mapping contests probably not that hard. I don't know, or as hard as like tournament organization and like streams and shit. But I don't know. Even then, I'm still a bit worried to like commit to stuff just because I don't want to assume that it's something we can do well just because we can make games.
There's also like already stuff like that, and the people that are doing that, I imagine, would also do it for Momentum. So I don't know.
Yeah, but also they'll have existing experience of like how to do mapping contest stuff well, and like it seems more important that we spend our time being receptive to what those people want and think Momentum could do for them than it is like us trying to do everything ourselves from scratch.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there's still definitely mapping contests are just fun, and I'd love to see playlists. Like, could easily be like a way that you can just. We do want to do playlists in the future. Probably won't be a 1.0 thing, but it kind of goes back to that stuff before with the web stuff of like, if open source web people are doing that, then we could get it in 1.0. Having like just a big list of all the maps and specific contests at the very least would be nice, but But also, we're very happy to like promote just in our Discord and stuff other people organising that. But yeah. Actually, no, you're not allowed to do tournaments. It's got to be officially sanctioned by Momentum. I do wonder, like, if you're doing like the people doing like competitive Overwatch stuff or whatever. You know, the games where they have like you have like a game studio that like sort of handles all of that stuff. But like with Overwatch, like you know, Blizzard were running the old Overwatch League stuff as well, and I don't know like how many times like good like tournament organizer people found themselves like exacerbated by like Blizzard people. I don't know, maybe Blizzard's hired really good people for that, but also it's Blizzard, so my standards aren't very high. What expectations?
They
okay,
just
so
fired them. Yeah, they just like get
yeah.
them for an event and fire them after.
Yeah, but not until they've sat in front of Bobby Kotick and James Corden, and I am allowed to talk about that because it was in the news.
Corden?
Yeah, Nick's not here, so I can say whatever I like about Bobby Kotick.
Blizzard bashing is always allowed.
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah, at least Kotick. But yeah. Anyway, do we have some more questions then? You wanna?
Yeah, there's a few more. I can read them.
Go for it.
Yep. So our next question is from Cosmodeusmaximus, asking, are there any guides on how to make your surf map have timers, and does the timer actually work for momentum? I noticed some maps have them, but I didn't know about them.
The maps in the map submission, the map selector do. Timer stuff is going to change a lot at 010. Because we're redoing all the zoning, and so it will be better at 010.
I think the only guide we have that works is the one that's in our Discord bot right now.
Yeah, the one on the docs is a bit crap. What's the longest map in Momentum, do you think?
At some point, we're going to have to start thinking about the documentation effort for 010 as well, because all this stuff has to be written down eventually.
Yeah, I was planning on deciding to yell at people soon. Well, yeah, it's gonna with porting stuff. Well, once Lumpers, we got a first release of Lumper out, we can start doing more of that for sure. Because Lumper, having screenshots of like the UI for that will be nice. Right. Ahop Desert Bus, is that a thing? What? Is that a new map someone made? We've not played much Ahop yet, besides me showing off the stupid sound thing. We could play some Ahop. I'm gonna do a coast run real quick, because why not?
Please turn the sound off.
Okay, fine. Wait, I don't know if I can... I'll just play with that sound, it's fine. I can't turn the sprint one off, I don't think. Maybe I can.
The general answer, though, is that we do have information on making zones. It's going to change soon, but our zones and timers are working. It's just... all of it's going to be changing when 010 comes out.
Yeah.
And that's coming closer every day, so... Do you have anything else to add to this question?
No. Well, because we'll be showing off loads of this stuff in the near future with the new 010 zones, so not really any point talking about the old stuff because we've been knowing that stuff's getting deleted for ages now.
Yeah.
Though I guess the thing, just to say, we've mentioned this before, but Peanscreeker has been making great progress on the zoning UI.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. So Alice Peanscreeker is the one that did all that crazy defrag UI you were saying. He got involved a year and a half ago now, maybe. And did CGAS and then Snap HUDs, which are like defrag complicated UI things, and he's really good at the HUD UI stuff, and has then been doing the zoning stuff. So yeah, we'll have that to show off pretty soon. In fact, there's lots of really cool refactors there. Why am I playing this map? I shouldn't just like. Okay, let's watch what record. Okay, yeah, zoning will show off lots of in the near future. Should we move on? Who's next? I can't tab out.
So, next question is also from Cosmodeusmaximus. Can maps be named NSFW things?
The naming, like,
No.
like, for when it comes to assets, absolutely not. Like, you don't put porn textures in your map. Like, come on, we shouldn't have to tell you that.
What about surf porn?
Yeah, surf porn, the textures you just gotta remove. Like, sorry. I don't know what more, like, it shouldn't, it should kind of go without
What
saying,
about
like, don't.
Nia's brushwork dicks?
That's true. Those are, I think we did talk about that on a Q&A once, but with, like, naming, I don't know, like, again, it should go without saying, no slurs. Like, if you there's some cases of maps that we've looked at before, where, like, mappers just put slurs in, like, the entity name, which is, like, not something we should really have to care about, but it's nice to not have. But also, like, why would you do that? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, how, like, did you get, like, kicked in the head as a child? Like, what is wrong with you? Don't do that. Anyway, I don't know. I'd hope some of the rules for this stuff would be fairly kind of self-explanatory. Like, or like, I don't know, surf boobs, if that's the thing. That should be alright, probably, you know? But, like, breasts? No.
There's a lot of defrag maps made by a mapper named, like, Pornstar. So they're all named like Pornstar or something.
Those are probably fine, right? I mean, there's like Pornstar Martini. Like, that's just a word. That's probably okay. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Just
I mean, it's
don't
not exactly.
say swears.
Don't say swears.
Yeah. It's not like it's explicit to say the word porn, you know?
Yeah, surf porn I don't think needs renaming probably. Or maybe prawn, I don't know, fucking something. But, like, it's... We don't need to do, like, anything, like, ultra-sanitized, I think. Like, we shouldn't need to be too worried about, like, yeah, surf boobs, if that's the thing. But, like, you also don't want to encourage kind of slippery slope behavior where people then are naming it really stupid stuff. And, like... I think assets are way more important. Like, yeah, there are, like, it's quite common for... like, I felt like a lot of combat surf maps I used to play, and I was too young for this as well, like, they just have, like, a porn room and stuff, and it's, like, embarrassing. Like, I'm sure most of the people making that were probably, like, teenagers themselves, but, like, aren't you embarrassed that you made that? Like, come on. Like, if you're... I don't know. Maybe it's just a sort of commentary on masculinity, if anything, but, like... Isn't it? Why? Like, you just put a bunch of naked people in a big room. Come on. Different internet culture, kind of. But it's also just weird. I don't know.
Like a thing that says, like, explicit material if you were to have a map like that.
Yeah, but
like,
I mean, we just take it as
Jump
the
asshole.
textures.
I don't know if you've seen Jump Asshole, Tom, but there's some interesting photos on that one.
Yeah.
It's not quite porn, but it's
okay. I guess
saucy in nature.
for me, if you're just doing something to be edgy or whatever, I don't. It's funnier if you're, like, genuinely, like, attracted to, like, the pornography on the map, because isn't that just funny? The idea that you want to be playing, like, surf, but be, like, happy to have, like, oh good, there's boobs. Like, isn't that funny?
Oh, thank God, my surf run was worth it.
Exactly. It's like there's something so, like, incredibly idiotic about that. Like, I don't know. I guess in a world where there is just, you know, there's a lot of pornography in the world, and, like, you don't need it in, like, a surf map or whatever. But also, like, it just seems to suggest that, like, a certain level of, like, lack of self-control, that, like, you're just titillated by random stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's funny. But yeah, none of that. No porn textures. The names, boobs is fine, breasts is not. I don't know. Is there someone to spec? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna just play the game a bit.
Grinding some RJ, but yeah.
Oh wait, is he in the thing? I can't read. Oh, Bray. Okay.
What's that?
You're playing the game. I'm gonna watch you.
I think we've got one more question.
Oh.
Sorry. One more question. Proximity voice chat. We want to do voice chat, right?
Yeah, Steamworks supports voice chat, right?
Yeah.
Should be pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna do it.
Do proximity voice chat though.
It sounds quite funny if someone like surfs by you and just starts like shouting at you. But...
what might make sense? I don't know, that something like that might make sense for like roaming lobbies or something, or lobbies that have a bunch of people on different maps.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I think proximity chat, just for the sake of proximity chat, is probably not worth spending dev effort on.
Yeah, if it's really easy, then maybe, but like I don't. Sounds hard. Like, yeah, I think with roaming lobbies, like, I don't know. It just sounds... Voice in roaming lobbies sounds, like, horrible, but, I mean, it's up to the player if they want to join a random group of strangers and just hear everyone shouting in voice. But I do really like the idea of, just being able to, like, yell at people as you surf past them. That's really funny.
And then we need to add Doppler shift to that.
This is like
Doppler shift.
That's so good.
It's Lethal Company in momentum.
Yeah. You're too slow. Yeah. Mate, I mean... No. Still the question stands, what's the rules around individual sponsored tournaments?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, we're not gonna... We, by our licensing, can't sell stuff in the game. We couldn't put ads in our game, for instance, which we also wouldn't do because fuck that. But like, for tournament organisers and stuff, I don't think we have to be restrictive about that in any major way.
I think maybe if you want to have like your tournament advertised in the game, you might need to meet some like basic minimum requirements.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, other than that, like, we're not going to like stop people from hosting tournaments.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think we might even want to have like, I don't know, way down along the line, probably after 1.0, maybe have like people be able to just kind of set up ad hoc tournaments, like just between friends or whatever, or little like races or whatever like that. Like, you know, we're not going to like restrict that at all. I think if someone put ads in their map, I don't think we could stop them, but like I personally would yell at them.
Yeah, I just think it's
I would say don't do that.
Yeah.
But like, who's gonna
some
pay
maps
to
that are
have
like
advertisements
sponsored, right?
for the map?
Isn't one of them sponsored by like
ESL.
I don't know. I find it really gross. I mean, people will make money from making maps. You know, that's cool in a way. At the same time, I think advertising is just shit. And it's like, you know, I don't think we can really stop people. I'd rather if the mapper wasn't getting paid any more for it to be an ad in like Momentum, why keep them? Like if Hardex is okay with Momentum having like Surf Summer or whatever and got paid specifically for like making Surf Summer for some server or whatever, or like why would you want to keep the ads? Like they're ads, they're dumb by nature. That being said, I think it's most important, like I don't want to have to like make big decisions about how mappers should do this stuff as well. Like it doesn't really feel like our area that much. Like put the effort into removing them. I mean, if they're just like decals, just get rid of them with lumper. Like it takes like 2 seconds.
even just textures, we can nuke them with lumber, right?
Yeah.
Change textures.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know why you wouldn't do that, because like, why would you want some energy company ads in your map if you don't have to have them? If you're getting paid for it, like, again, I think advertising is just like, I don't know. I don't. If people, I don't really want to judge people for making money off of advertising stuff. If you work for an advertising company, go fuck yourself. But like, if you're making a map
Bit of
and
a
you
180.
but if you're making a map and you can get paid for making a map because someone wants to advertise on it, I can kind of sympathise. I think I'd personally feel, if I was making a map, I'd really not like doing that. But I mean, I'm not going to judge other people for that whatsoever. And in a way, it's really cool that people can get. I guess I would love the idea of having a momentum mod ad blocker. And if that didn't upset mappers, I'd love to do that. But at the same time, I don't want to piss off mappers who are like, if some mappers are like, oh, I'm not going to add my map to momentum because momentum like filters ad textures. I don't think we should filter the ad textures. That being said, I think that would be a fine feature. I mean, I'd probably, if someone had some texture pack that they were putting in Discord or whatever that is just like replaces the like fanatic textures or whatever with just transparency, and you could use that like easily, like maybe I'd use that. I don't know. I don't want to see ads, just as I don't.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, though, like ads in a map are far from the least, are far from the most like harmful form of ads. Like there's no tracking or like manipulation or targeting going on. It's just something that's been pasted into a map. So it's not exactly harmful. It's just maybe like
also you can ignore them.
Kind of ugly.
The ads that are obnoxious are like Twitch ads and ads on TV or whatever, because they're forcing you to look at them, because you can't play the map until you look at the ad. I can't imagine us ever. Well, maybe it's just not for us to say. I'd love to, if someone was making a map that you had to look at an ad at the start of the map to like play it, I'd like to say, no, you can't add that. Though maybe we shouldn't, maybe we should allow that, but that sounds incredibly stupid. But if it's something you can just ignore, and it's not like, you know, if I'm looking at, I try to use a browser on my phone that does have an ad block, though sometimes I don't, because it's like, I'm a mess and my phone sometimes opens stuff in Chrome instead of Kiwi browser or whatever. Like, I get annoyed if I look at, like, you know, a lot of local news websites have, like, really obnoxious ads, you know, and it's like, and in a way that's just depressing because you think of all the poor journalists who are, like, making this effort to write this article, and then the place that's, like, actually showing the work they've written is just making the whole experience horrible for the viewer because it's selling you a car instead of, like, showing this, like, thing that someone's worked hard to write. I don't know what I'm saying. Like, I think I do have a thing that I would like to say that I don't think I can justify. I do think a map that had advertisements for, maybe I don't have a good reason for this. I'd like to say a map that has advertisements for, say, a gambling company shouldn't be allowed. I think there's some. Yeah, no, I think there's a. Fair. So betting, even if it's esports betting, I don't think that should be allowed. And I'm not sure I can justify that, but I think it's really, I don't, you know, something, if it's gambling, tobacco, I'd argue alcohol, and arms manufacturers, like, those kind of things, like, I think gambling is the
US military.
Right, right, yeah, of course, yeah, the US military do that, don't they? But I mean,
Navy or whatever.
Yeah.
Airport.
With, you know, stuff like weed, and I guess a lot of, like, companies, I don't know, it's in the UK weed's not legal, so I care more if it's some big company is making a profit out of, like, I don't care about selling weed on like an alpha pay or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna let you advertise that in your map, just to be clear, but, like, I don't take the kind of moral objection to it.
But how much business you'd get? Maybe it's the future.
Yeah. But that's exactly it, Saden, is that with especially esports and gambling ads, that stuff's disgusting. And I get, you know, some, like, YouTube content creators or whatever, I'm going to call them content creators as a slur. I hate that term. Like, you know, if I No, actually, what am I saying? I don't think you can excuse that stuff. If you are making YouTube videos, don't take money from, like, CSGO betting stuff. Those companies are disgusting, and they're just gambling companies. And if this is your, like, life's work, making CSGO videos, and it's full of fucking, like, oh, you should use thingy bets, like, skinbet.com. Fuck that. But gambling is just gambling management. The whole point of gambling management is to do something that is destructive to people. I mean, and there are so many lives ruined by gambling, and it's disgusting. So yeah, we wouldn't allow that. I hope.
Proximity voice chat.
Oh, someone asked in chat about ads in maps. So
okay.
I don't think in a lot of the cases I don't think we have a precise answer, but I imagine we would try to. So some map that has like fanatic ads, I don't think is a big deal. I think if you can get rid of them, then it would be nice to get rid of them, but it's not that big a deal. But
I mean, there can't be that many maps with ads in them anyway. I don't anticipate this being a big problem.
Yeah, but I think like hard X maps, whatever that has ads in, like, again, I just think if you can remove them, why not? But it's really up to him, like we were saying before. People adding maps from enemy is totally up to like their next idea from my alphabet. I don't know if that's a thing still. Sorry, I shouldn't talk about dark web drug things. Silk Road or whatever.
I wonder if there'll ever be people who do like map free releases on their Patreon or something. Like,
oh yeah, but those are quite nice, right? Like,
yeah.
I wonder if there would be a way to kind of do that.
Submitted.
Yeah. Yeah, but those kind of, those models are a lot better than. Curtis, so maps with a seizure warning to get vetoed as strobing element. I think there's some maps where there maybe is some worry there, like stuff Milky Way, for instance, like the way you surf the ramps can be kind of stroby. We don't have legal people on the team. I mean, there's Happy who has like a law degree, I think, but like it's not. We're not going to take legal advice from Happy. Sorry, Happy. Most games do a thing where they say like we don't take responsibility for strobe stuff, and I think we should do that by release anyway. We would like to have a feature during map submission where you can note that. We were saying like we were going to have like a sort of content note thing for maps. I think that's probably the only thing we'd really want to note. And I think we definitely should do that. We should say like the problem is like when no one's the authority on like if a map is potentially seizure inducing, and it's not something we want to make it very clear that it's not ever like medical advice, and like if you are concerned about this stuff, we can't give you like a kind of official like thing of like if it's because we don't know and we don't have the qualifications to say if a map is potentially harmful for seizure inducing stuff or not, right? It would still be really nice to have. My only worry is by having that it makes it seem like we're kind of taking responsibility for if someone was to place a map and have a seizure or anything like that, that like it's not something we can take responsibility for there, because we can't trust the people moderating the maps or whatever to be. No one's medically qualified to do that, and we just want to make sure we don't give the impression that stuff is like safe when it isn't, right? And so those would purely be guidelines, and there's only so much that we can do. But that being said, I still think it would be really great to have, and it is in my to-do list of map submission things that we want for 010 is a little content note thing. It's just there's a sort of I just worry about it being it's not on my hand it's like kind of a legal thing, in that we wouldn't want to take like any kind of legal responsibility, like if someone was to. That being said, like we also don't want to give bad advice, and we'd have to make it very clear that like if we say something is potentially bad, that's not us saying by implication that other maps aren't potentially bad, right? And I guess I don't know. It would be good to talk to someone who plays games like this, but does experience seizures, or I really don't know that much about conditions like epilepsy and sort of stuff in that area, I'm afraid. So I just don't know what I'm talking about. It would be good to have advice from someone there, if they could sort of say, just like from their experience and playing games and having conditions like that, what would be good for them. But all of this stuff like can't be like taken as like full medical advice. Maybe some medical people could, and maybe I'm sure probably are guidelines for stuff like this. It's just with our stuff, and because it is just community content, like we're not the ones making the stuff. And we're also not qualified to arbitrate. I'm rambling, but yeah.
I would also hope that anything that's really egregious would be rejected on the grounds of just looking terrible.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe there's some older existing maps that would get in, but like, I mean, if it is something that's just horrible, obnoxious, we'd change it in porting, I guess. I can't think of many things that are... Yeah. But that's the thing when it comes to, like, I don't know very much about epilepsy, but it's not like some... This... like, you just point to some specific thing, it's like, this is going to give an epileptic person a seizure, like, it's obviously going to be different from person to person, and like, yeah, it's just kind of impossible to be confident in any thing. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if we've got any more questions, we might be done.
Yeah, I don't think so. No one's posted anything in the Discord, so...
Cool. Yeah, I don't see anything. Anything else to talk about? I don't know. Feels quite short, this Q&A. But...
Play Defrag.
Play Defrag. No. Should we talk about Shakespeare? For the like third time. So we did play Conc though. Fine, I'll do a Conc speedrun. Why not? Just because it's like the one map I can be bothered to play. What's the plan for version numbering in the O10 branch before it's officially released? I don't think we'll version it. I think we'll just release stuff when we want to. It'll be like a pre-release. It doesn't really have like a version, I don't think. But also we don't know how long O10 pre-release stuff will go on for. Might be quite a bit. It might be like a few weeks. In some cases we've just got stuff that hasn't been tested that much. I guess like most of the game stuff doesn't really get tested because it's game dev and game devs don't write tests. At least we don't. But we, with our front end stuff, like I would have loved to have written a bunch of tests for our front end, and I haven't because I don't have time.
I mean, it would be nice to have the ability to write tests. I think it's
we do a bit actually, and we do have.
We don't have much of an ability, and if we I imagine we do have an ability somewhat. Like game code is, I guess, what I'm talking about, but I think it's like a lot more trouble than it needs to be.
Oski did a little bit for like test client stuff, but there's nothing. We don't have anything like super sophisticated like Unreal or whatever does. But also, it's like
because if they're easier, then it's people are gonna write them.
we unit test some stuff, like some of the stuff in the like our new like tier 0 stuff or whatever. I think we have some unit tests for. It's just. If you're designing a game, don't kid yourself on thinking that like unit testing is gonna like be all that comprehensive. It's a game engine, and most of it isn't tested. You're not gonna get good coverage, however hard you try. That being said, unit testing is helpful for if you are doing new stuff in tier 0 or whatever, and if user input is gonna stay. No, we're getting rid of input. You just have to. It's just basically momentum just become like a film.
You're gonna have to get the Elon Musk brain worm.
Yeah, God, that guy is really smart.
No, I think we're probably gonna keep the a trigger or something. We're gonna keep it, but we might not allow it for ranked maps.
Depends how it's used, I guess. Like you can use it in creative ways.
Okay.
But it's still, reasonable.
Not very so. Disres
depends on what it is.
Asked, how will the final tier be decided again for map submission? So,
Witchcraft.
Yeah, it's mostly like spells and potions and juniper and I don't know what else is used in potions. Frogs, probably.
Newt's eyes.
Various amphibians.
more amphibians, the higher the tier.
Yeah. So,
But no,
the final tier is actually not complete. Right now, it's picked by moderators and admins, and those are like very specific roles. Like, we don't have any like really fancy fine-grained position system on the back end, and maybe we kind of should, though I'm not sure we need to. So, we have this notion of like map reviewers right now, but those people are ones that just kind of approve the map that verifies it's not like got content like porn textures in it. I'm not going to explain all the map submission now, I'm too tired. But in the past we talked about having a kind of mapping council system where like it's people that can decide. Sorry, my ear's itchy. The final people deciding the tier is it's currently just moderators. Down the line, we'll probably have some people who don't have to be full-on mods on the back end, but can be like, probably just the reviewers, and we just make it so reviewers can do the final approval thing. My focus when doing all the map submission stuff has been not so much, it's mainly just trying to make sure that we get like a good supply of information about what tier the map should be. So it allows anyone that reviews a map to recommend tiers for like any leaderboard, and hopefully that is helpful in like informing people of the tier, because like tiers are subjective, right? That doesn't mean that they're random. That's a common stupid misapprehension, right? That like just because they're subjective doesn't mean that like there's going to be a lot of subjective agreement, and like usually like quite a low spread of different opinions for tiering. I mean, depends on the map, but like, you know, most, if it's a surf tier 3, most people are going to say it's about a tier 3, and you might get a few people to say like 1 or 4, 2 or 4, I forgot numbers there. But you'd hope there'd be like a fair bit of agreement, and so the final decision hopefully isn't like overly controversial. That being said, exactly who makes those decisions in every case isn't fully decided yet, because we probably do need to change how roles work a little bit for that. But generally we will have pre-approved people that can do the final approval of maps. It's just, we'll try to... My focus at least has been to make sure that like they get good information to base it on, rather than decide exactly who does it. But maybe that's just because I've just been trying to avoid the difficult decision of figuring out how the fuck we actually choose who decides at the end. What am I talking about? I'm just rambling now. I'm sorry. I'm too tired.
The tier map doesn't really like have much of an impact other than it telling you roughly the difficulty, right? Like we're not giving more ranked points depending on what tier the map is or anything like that.
No,
so.
But that's sort of just because the algorithm doesn't need that.
Yeah. I was just saying, like, we can adjust the tier at any time, and it doesn't really matter, so as long as it's a vague.
That being said, it's nice to not have to adjust them.
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's not the end of the world if it's mistiered for the first week or two, I guess.
Yeah. What am I doing?
There's also been a lot of discussion about what tiering system we should actually use, and I don't know if that's been 100% decided.
Oh, it's
10 tiers, isn't it? So that's just what we're going with.
No,
I can't remember. Was that the like consensus?
No, we're using hieroglyphs. It's descriptive.
The Eye of Horus.
Yeah.
Jump beef, of course.
I mean, of course, jump beef is an Eye of Horus. What are you talking about? No, it's 0 to 10 and 1 to 10 in all of them. And we're not adding more tiers ever, I think. I thought we were doing that for a bit, and we said we're not. I'm forgetting. This is written down somewhere. I have horse. Yeah, thanks, Toop. Why is Toop just naming vegetables in chat? What?
It's what goes in the witch's brew.
Oh, those are just normal vegetables.
So is an Eye of Newt.
I guess radish. I bought a radish the other day and then didn't do anything with it. I just got a radish.
We're
God, I
on the
love a radish.
Stream now.
Yeah. Sorry. We're doing radishes this year. Yeah, I mean, daikon are radishes, and those are great. Daikon are like the easiest, like, big vegetable to grow. They're crazy. They're just these big things, and they just grow. They're so easy to grow, and they're delicious. But I think we need to plant. I think we've started planting some radishes already. Actually, it's nothing quite like a radish. Well, I guess like other vegetables similar to radishes are quite like a radish, but you know, they're great. The final decision for tiers is mostly. You know what they say about the wheels on the bus? They're radishes. That's not what they say. Change the slide if you're done with the question. No. I want to make it as hard as I can for Tuplis to do the things. For you good to do the thingies this week. As always, I don't mind doing it.
I wonder if by the next Q&A we'll be able to show off O10O in any capacity.
I was about to ask
By then,
the radishes would be grown. Sorry. We might have some radishes by then. Radishes grow quite quick, and it's, you know, start of spring. So probably about 6 weeks like radishes already. Is that what you were talking about, Lumius?
no. It's not.
No. You said that like in an annoyed but patient way.
No, I was just saying, I wonder if by next Q&A stream we'll have any O10O stuff to actually show off.
In game stuff we might. It's just like a lot of
By then
O10
we'll
is not that
probably
sexy.
have. Well,
Yeah.
probably, there's all the climb stuff, right?
We've shown it off. Like some of
I
climbs
feel
in
like
already.
the movement has been in code review for like 2 months now. For
But
the
didn't we
climb stuff.
the 1.6 stuff got approved today? I thought.
Oh, nice.
It's either been approved or it's very nearly there. Game Chaos resolved all the stuff, so
I think so.
probably by then we would have the like Half-Life and 1.6 movement in by then.
That would actually be great to play around with. I think it's just like in terms of getting a branch that people are actually playing on, it's a bit hard to say. But looking forward to playing with 1.6 stuff for sure. What am I doing?
I just want the water bob changes. I want to play around with those.
That'll
God,
be
me too?
in the next update. Should be. That's
Bless
not a
you,
Nintendo
Lumia.
thing.
Disres, will there not be tier dependent completion points? I believe I don't know the rank point algorithm very well, but it doesn't take tiers into account, no. Because it's based on like the number of completions. I don't have any strong opinions on the ranking algorithm. I know lots of people do. It's just we've like had that algorithm for like 5 or so years, and it's just not actually used anywhere. You can't see rank points currently. So sometime soon after O10, we'll hook up the rank point stuff and we'll show it on people's profile, and then people can start complaining about if the ranking system sucks. Yeah, the more you get the more completions, the more points you get. I can't. It's on our docs. There's stuff on it, and people have written stuff about it. I know that basically, like, it doesn't really make sense to me how it's set up, but apparently it's good, and I don't care. I do care, but like,
Is it pinned in the point discussion channel? Let's have a look.
that channel does not exist.
No,
Well,
I think it is
Deleted it, or is it not
more
archived?
points for less completions. If you at the same relative place, like if you're like
Oh,
10th percentile, you get more points in a map with less completions.
something like that.
Because because that's a harder like thing to do. There's
Yeah.
kind of like 3 parts to it. I don't remember exactly how the setup is, but there's like a fixed amount of points for top 10, depending on whether you're 1 through 10, and then there's a certain amount of points that's not exactly percentile, but kind of, and then there's some third thing that's added to it. I can't remember what it is. So, no, it's like the group system or something. I don't know. It's kind of complicated. I think it'll probably work decently well. Well, for everything other than Defrag. I still don't know how Defrag's going to work.
Yeah, but the main thing is we need to actually show the fucking stuff so that people can judge it then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
I
been-
can't remember where we've got the document, so...
Yeah.
Unlucky.
Well, no, I mean, the document is one thing, but also we need to actually get it being used. Because we have the algorithms the algorithm is implemented. It's just we don't
is it?
show the rank XP stuff anywhere.
Oh,
I'm pretty
nice.
sure we do assign rank XP with the current website, it's just we don't show it anywhere. You got to keep in mind, with Momentum's web stuff, like, it literally just no one worked on it, at least I was going to say something really sassy there. For a while, it was not being significantly. There was no progress made on website for like several years, and so the whole rank system, like displaying of rank stuff, which is not ever really shown. And so sometime soon after 010, we'll start thinking about rank stuff seriously. And we actually have people that work on the website stuff now, like myself and Gordy and osplo and people. So it will actually work on it. It's yeah. Someone posted a Google Doc. Nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the rank point stop.
Yeah.
Multiple leaderboards for different rank point calculations.
Oh lord.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
need to add
yeah.
maps with like pickup items in them and like add a score attack mode.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, what? That's awesome. That's really great. What are we talking about? There was someone other question. I need a toilet. Toothless asks, would Lumper be done on UI side by then, probably? Oh, for the next Q&A? Yeah. I'll try to get it released out by then. It's just, Lumper's really boring. It's just a program. We could show it off, but it is just a program. So.
You can see all of the lumps.
My lovely lady. Yeah. We need to some way get this alternative name to Lumper in the like UI somewhere or something. Yeah. White men can't lump. It's genuinely the funniest thing Max ever said.
It's a toss up between that and the Weasleys.
Weasley ranks.
I'm ranking the car.
I think we've spoken about the Q&A before, but for those who don't remember, when we discussed, we have a sort of rank point bracket system we may do in the future. We've not discussed it in a while, and it's quite like UI based, and we might talk about it more after 10 entirely. And we needed like types for the rank bracket names, you know, like gold, silver, like stuff.
Yeah,
that we were
just
gonna do.
a long list of materials and like.
And we had a very big Google Doc, which is lots of random suggestions. Yeah, I thought my ones were really good, and then no one liked them. We made that, and on that big Google Doc, Mac's suggestions were just like an enumeration of the Weasleys from Harry Potter.
I mean, there's 9 of them.
And it's like...
It's almost 10. It's
wait,
close.
I shouldn't know this. Harry Potter's fucking terrible. What is it? It's Ginny, Ron, Fred, George, Percy, Charlie, Bill, Molly,
Arthur,
and the car. Can you imagine, like, Momentum Mods UI, like, all of this, like, UI as it is, and then it's, like, Harry Potter font, like, ranking stuff. But yeah, you only have one person that could, at a time, that could be the car. It is just rank 1 is the car.
This is the sort of thing the workshop exists for.
Yeah. No, if someone wants to make custom UI for that in the future, I'll be very happy. Okay. I think we should probably stop here, unless there's other stuff to talk about. I mean, I don't mind going on for longer, but I mean...
How long do they usually last? I can't remember.
It's usually 3 hours. We don't know that many questions. We could go for another 20 minutes, but we'd talk about something. Also, I need a Wii, so I'd have to...
There's a lot of things I could rant about, but I probably shouldn't.
We could do 20 more minutes. I mean...
20 more minutes. Then it's bedtime.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna be right back. I do need to go to the toilet, I'm afraid. I'm not like Nick, who has a bladder of steel. Yeah. Who am I looking for? We're gonna watch fucking Rocket Jump. Fine. Oh, it's this map. This map's a tier 6. Okay.
It's not very good.
Oh yeah, we do lose an hour tonight. Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
at least we don't have to think about time stuff for another 6 months. I don't mind like DST or whatever. What's annoying is that it's whatchamacallit? Whatchamacallit? Yeah, I don't know. Right, I'm gonna be right back in a sec. Bray, you're in charge.
What now?
You're in charge.
Okay.
Why didn't False say hi? Or show
Well,
up on stream
we were
for
talking
half a
about
second?
things, and then, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I heard his door open. I don't know.
Since we were talking about the ranking system, I was thinking about what we're gonna do for defrag ranking. I honestly still don't know how that's gonna look.
It's gonna be separate.
Why would it be
rank.
different?
Yeah, we're just gonna have separate
Well,
rank leaderboards for CPM and VQ3. I thought.
yeah, so here's the problem with defrag is that defrag is like 50 different skill sets in one. It's not like surf where it's just triangles. I know there's more to surf than just like triangles, different types of maps and stuff, but like defrag is really different. And defraggers themselves have debated this like endlessly about whether a single ranking system is even feasible for all of defrag. And the answer is it almost certainly isn't, because you're always going to be like missing something. So the question is like, what do we do with momentum? I seriously doubt that I could convince anyone that we need multiple ranks for defrag, like different types of maps or whatever. So that leaves me with thinking like, we're going to have to try and control the defrag map pool so that the maps themselves are like an even representation of the different skill sets, strafe, weapons, climbing, different types of weapons, tech strafe, I don't know, snap zone abuse stuff. Yeah, Natan, I don't think I can convince anyone that we can do that. I don't think I can convince the momentum team that we need multiple rank systems for a given game mode. I don't think anyone's going to buy that. That's what I would do if I designed a momentum mod for defrag from the start. But momentum mod is a surf and Bhop game. It's not a defrag game. So like, if we have a single ranking system, we need to somehow enforce that the map pool is like consistent or like evenly distributed over different types of maps, because otherwise you're going to get like 95% CPM strafe maps. And that means that the mode is going to boil down to you spend 95% of your time playing strafe because that's the most important thing to get a high rank. And so weapon skill is like not valuable at all. But then like, what does that look like? Like, are we going to tell people who make strafe maps, no, fuck off, we don't need more strafe maps? I guess we could.
It's
like, I don't know.
I mean, we also have that with like sticky jump, where like some people are just air pogoers, and some people are like more into like the hard pogo stuff.
Yeah, it's
I don't think
really
it ever like came up,
exaggerated.
but like yeah, it is pretty exaggerated with like defrag.
we
Yeah,
can
like,
like
you
we
can
can
get defrag maps that look like two completely different games, you know.
we can say on people's profile like what kind of maps they play. For instance, we're gonna have tags for O10. So maps will like say like if they're strafe maps versus if they're weapon maps, stuff like that. That will be something we do have like in the database in a way that we can make statistics off of, but that doesn't count towards like
Be like the
what you
best
want is
strafe
like
player.
points that are specific to like certain things, and that I don't know how we do in a way that works with defrag and other stuff. I mean, to be clear,
Yeah,
like if there is a way to do this, like we can keep discussing it. Like it's not the rank stuff isn't set in stone, but it is a nightmare to try and figure out. And so
Yeah.
I'm not at all against. I mean, I don't really have that many opinions on ranks. I mean, I have opinions on the implementation, but not on like how stuff should work all that much, right? I just
I'm not sure when you came back, but I was kind of saying like I don't know that I could convince anyone that we really need to have separate ranking systems for defrag. So I was just thinking like
no.
If we don't
That's
do
a good
that,
filter
I mean,
on
if we
website as
can-
well, right? Like if you can just click a tag and then see how many points you've got on that tag compared to everyone else, then that's already like its own.
So let's
separate
think.
leaderboard kind of
I
thing,
mean, to
but-
some extent that works, right? Like nice pumpkins. The thing is,
love
like,
pumpkins.
it's not. But also, like, there really is, like, this stuff isn't fully decided yet. And if there are ways to make this work, we could try. It's just... I don't think can work is doing a whole separate, like, ranking algorithm and everything for Defrag, just because that's horrible. That being said, if we can try to make stuff that's kind of flexible enough that it could sort of allow for that, and try to spec that out now, then we should. And we can try to make something work. So, like, I mean, yeah, maps can have tags. You could fairly easily filter well, let's think. I don't see why we couldn't do something like this, or like do a kind of composite rank point, or the
main problem, no matter how it ends up being done, is figuring out a compromise that's good enough, because there's no way, like, the maximalist approach is to have like a tag for like 200, well, not 200, but probably a good dozen different kinds of skill sets and map styles. I feel like that's too much, though. On the other hand, like, strafe versus weapon is a little too reductive. I think it's missing out on some things.
So we said that we want tags to be like a discrete, finite thing. Like, we're not going to have... Tags are gameplay descriptions, for one. So, like, you don't tag, like, oh, this map is blue, you know, because it's pointless, and it's not designed for, like, that. If we did a separate tag system for that, we could, but, like, tags are meant to be saying stuff about the gameplay. With stuff like strafe versus weapon, I don't know how you break that up. But I don't really know Defrag. But also with other modes, like, it's kind of weird. Like, some modes it doesn't seem to work that, like Ahop. There's like shit tech maps, and then there's like coast and displacement maps. But I don't know.
Not biased at all.
But like, I don't know exactly how you tag them, and it's a bit. One thing, I can talk a little bit. So, one thing we're very keen on with ranking stuff is ranks are going to be quite volatile. Rank XP is something that, like, isn't going to get stored in database in, like, a single column. Like, there's not one single rank XP that a player has and it's, like, just in the Postgres and just updated constantly. Or at least that might exist in some form, but it's not, like, the notion we have for ranking is, like, we want ranks to be something that can be recalculated very, very fast, because leaderboards are changing constantly. So, like, if someone gets a rank, basically if anyone gets a time above you on a ranked map, that's going to change your overall rank, right, which is scary, because that's lots of calculations to do. And so the idea we have in mind, and this isn't fully spec'd out, though Rio's done a similar thing for this on Horizon, and it's the kind of thing I like to think about in the shower, is we're going to do something using Redis. Shout out to Redis for fucking with their license stuff, and we might use Microsoft thing or whatever it's called. But we want the back end side of it to be something that can recalculate stuff very, very quickly, and it's kind of, so in that sense you could conceivably, like, change the tags for a game mode, like Ahop, which is a very new mode. We might not know the final tags that Ahop should have, like, so maybe if we do end up re-tagging some game mode, which sounds like a big sort of arduous task, but I guess we could do, like, something like Ahop, then we maybe could, but also, like, because we're saying this stuff can be kind of recalculated very dynamically, sort of on the fly, because it kind of has to be, because it's just sort of volatile data. Well, then we could start to do, well, what is my rank just on maps with this tag? And if we do have, like, a very small number of tags for each mode, then that gets you quite a lot of what we seem to be after, right? Of, like,
I think so. So yeah, I guess part of it is, like, so like I said, there's never going to be, like, a perfect sort of segregation of the different skills, but getting a decent idea of who's best overall at maybe weapons and, like, open strafe stuff, and then, like, climb and maybe tech strafe stuff. I don't know, that's decent start, I think. So that's good. The other problem, though, is that with an unrestricted defragment pool, you're going to end up with lots of CPM strafe maps, probably.
Yeah, easy to make, again, people like them, and
yeah, then again, a lot of those maps might end up being just kind of too low effort to bother ranking,
Yeah, I
our
was
map
just thinking
review
that
system
there's
might
a lot
filter
of low
those
effort
out.
strafe
Yep.
maps.
But even then, I still think there's going to definitely be an emphasis on those types of maps because
I
they're
think so.
always just going to
It's-
be easier to make and easier to test than like an actual weapon
Good.
map or something.
And it's a fool's task trying to keep the pool even. Like,
Yeah.
however hard you try, that's never going to work very well. I just don't believe
Right.
it. Oh, congrats. For
And then, but so then if you have that situation and you have an overall rank, that overall rank is always going to basically be like the strafe rank. And so it's kind of like, should we bother even showing that? Because whatever is like the overall rank is going to be what people go for the most. Like, yeah, it's okay to be like, yeah, like if you filter it by weapons, actually I'm the best. But like people are still gonna the most coveted thing is just going to be like the overall defrag rank.
yeah.
And if that rank is basically just how good you are at strafe, maybe we shouldn't show that, or maybe like not calculate that, like basically only have those tagged ranks. Because that overall rank is going to be kind of like not really the thing we necessarily want people to optimize for the most. Like I don't want defrag players to feel like, you know, yeah, like I'm pretty high weapons rank, but nobody cares about it because that's not like the defrag
I mean,
rank.
you can sort of statistically do it if you want to make the sum of the ranks be, like, just proportional, just mathematically, right? Like, you can say, like, you do each tag evenly, and then you'd get, but then you'd get more points for. Is there any way you could do that that would make sense? If you have,
I think just having like a total, yeah, back end, but
Like-
you don't actually show it.
So I'm not. What do you mean by like proportion?
oh no, I don't think it makes sense.
An
What am I
average
saying?
of your rank between all the modes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
like
just do
between all
each
the
tag
tags,
individually and then just average them. But that just sounds silly.
Yeah.
Because the people that means if you want to be good at it would be if Klein
You have
is
to be
the
average
least common.
everything to be the best, or...
Well, no. It would be more
Something.
the like just fucking chat. It would be more like the Is there anyone else?
Strafe
suspect?
maps
If
would be
not-
worth less, right?
Yeah, space would be worth
Interesting.
less because you'd have to do more of them to get it to. So it is just that feels a bit hopeless. I don't.
Yeah, I don't have a specific solution either. It's just something I've thought about on and off because it's like, well, once all this stuff is hooked up, people are going to start complaining to me about
Good.
it.
Keep giving it thought, and if other people watching and stuff like have opinions on it, it's like it's not like this stuff is set in stone. I've not even done tags yet. I'm trying to keep that. That system's gonna be quite general. I don't really care about what tag is what. So I don't know how we're gonna edit them actually. What like a tag is. It probably does just end up being in
The one
hard-coded
thing that I will be like very firm on is that our rank system will not be like perfect. It's not going to like perfectly encompass every possible little like sub skill. So when people come to me and say like, "Oh, this ranking system doesn't like capture this specific thing," like that's fine to me. The point is to have like just a ranking system that's accessible enough to be fun. You know, I think it is kind of, it's not going to be possible to try and capture like every possible little sub skill because you can get really deep into it, right? Like there's some people whose thing is like they just play straight strafe maps where you just go in a straight line and optimize for units per second. But that's like such a niche thing. Like, are we going to have like a tag for that? Probably not. Maybe not.
No.
I don't know if tags are cheap, but
No.
that's a thing that very few people do, right? Some people are specifically really good at plasma ground boosts, and like they just play those types of maps, and they're like the best at it. But is
I
that
think-
something we need like its own rank for? I don't know.
I think before I start doing the tags work, which I'll probably get to in the next like maybe 2 months from now, it's kind of going to be one of the last things I do for map submission. We should definitely talk about this more then, just because I'm not convinced we've got it like fully sussed out, and it is important. So we should talk about it more then. I don't know, like I've played this map before. I used to play
You
this.
played Cuba, I think.
Yeah, but this is just
For
more
some
shit.
reason, Cuba decided that he wanted to make a map but just reuse course 1.
Okay.
And
Right.
it's a waste of everyone's time.
Well, this is great. What a fun map. Like, Oh, I remember this. I remember not being able to do this.
I think I've successfully used up our last 20 minutes almost.
Got 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to beat this map. Oh! Did you see that? I got a yeet. I just got a yeet.
You're gonna yee! Oh!
I should have just
exciting.
instantly ended the stream.
Oh, that like through a weird
I mean,
train
what's
of
that?
thought reminds me that we also need to like fix being able to shoot other players in multiplayer. Like we need to get rid of them.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you shoot him with a shotgun, like blood comes out.
Oh.
It's really
Oh wait.
Yeah,
I do-
more importantly, I think you can't shoot people behind them, or you can't shoot stuff behind them. So if someone stands in front of a button or whatever.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I think so. I would
Yeah, they
assume
should
so. I don't
just-
think the code is going to account for that.
Yeah,
It's
the
not gonna,
trace
like,
should
run the
just,
trace
like,
further.
I remember
Skip
this.
over it. Yeah.
I played
I
this.
figure no, I haven't figured out that button bug. The most recent defrag bug I've been looking into is that really weird one on that Halvor map where you like kind of jump randomly when doing a ground boost, and that bug scares me. So I figured out what's going on, and it's some horrific thing where somehow, some way, the game thinks you're standing on like the slope underneath the floor, and then it bumps you up because it thinks you've hit a ramp.
Is
And
it
that's
like
horrible.
skim timing related or something?
It doesn't seem like it because I've messed around. I've tried like disabling gravity so nothing's pulling you down. It still happens. I've tried like just setting friction to 0 so it's not technically slick, and it still happens. But I can't get it to happen in any other game mode so far.
I'm the
Then
worst.
again, other game modes might not actually like exhibit that behavior, but yeah, it's a weird bug, and I'm concerned that it might be something like really obscure collision related. I don't know.
I really
So-
like it when you talk about this stuff because it makes me having to do like a bunch of C# UI feel way less painful.
Yeah, I don't really,
Like
I don't want to
these-
look into it that much further, but I have to. I can't let. I mean, this bug is game breaking, so it needs to be fixed.
Okay. How do
I
you
think
do
it's
this? Is
also
this
probably
actually...
quite a rare bug
Shit.
as well. I can't imagine there's many maps that make their brushes in that
Yeah.
way. But
But knowing defraggers, someone's going to find a way to like exploit it, and then it's going to become mandatory for world record.
This lobby is packed. It's 10 people.
But yeah, luckily, it's not very common in the actual map that it occurs in, but that test map.
What?
You made that map, right?
So bad.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
absolutely decimate the floor, so it's not
Yeah.
surprising that it happens very consistently.
Yeah.
You did that
Like
when
that-
you came around my flat. Remember?
Yeah,
Decimate.
start hacking away with a.
Yeah, I
Chainsaw.
can't believe you cut Tom's floor up in 45-degree angles. That's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. It didn't compile afterwards.
I think that's probably like the biggest defrag bug right now. There's a couple of other ones. There are some weird things with overbounces. So like I made a map that had a bunch of different ramps of different slopes, and you could jump down on them from different heights. And I just tested back and forth between defrag and momentum to make sure that you got the exact same speed from them. And the only ones that were different were the ones that just happened to be at overbounce heights. And for whatever reason, even when I turned off the overbounce fix in momentum, like I still didn't get the overbounce on them. So there is some kind of difference with overbounce behavior or distances or something. I need to look into that as well. But that's the only other, like, I don't know, thing that I'm directly looking at right now. The other stuff seems like it's, like, multiplayer related. Like, I have no idea why plasma would be less powerful when someone's next to you. Like, that's cursed. That's
It's
just
not. It's not less powerful. It completely eats the explosion, and it apparently
it-
does happen with every projectile in defrag. So that's.
Oh, okay. Then that's probably just a
Yeah.
case of like
Yeah.
taking ghosts into account for collision, and like the
Yeah.
game thinks the ghost is in the way. So that's probably not that hard of a fix.
And also, you get pain indicators when somebody shoots near you in defrag, but not in other modes. I
Yeah.
don't think.
I think that our multiplayer
Taking
networking
damage.
for weapon stuff needs to be revisited. I
Our
think I
multiplayer
can't
It's
remember.
it's quite bad, yeah, especially
I-
for like sticky jump.
I can't remember when or why or who changed it, but it kind of works on the basis of like we send the event that the ghost is like shot a weapon, and then we like run the weapon code for that ghost on the client, or like on locally. So like we're actually running the weapon code and spawning projectiles locally,
Yeah,
and that's probably what's happening. We
Yeah,
need to
we're,
not do
what am I
that.
doing?
Yeah,
I'm really scared by
Slidey
our
did
online
that
shit.
work, I remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the. I'm sure Slidey could explain the rationale for that, but I think we need to go back to the way it was
Well, we just
before.
need like simulated like weapons in order to have like UI for them.
Is that what
that,
it
like-
is? Can't we just network the whole like state of the weapon or something like that?
We'd have
Like,
to like
just-
double it. Yeah. I don't
Well,
know.
because the problem right now is that weapons belong to ghosts and not players. So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of hacks in place. There's been crashes where like we assumed that the owner was a player, but it's actually not, and so like dereferencing null pointers. There's
Yeah.
hacks for like the defrag ammo system. Well, just the ammo system, the defrag timers, because those are all owned by the players. So if the weapon is owned by a ghost and not a player, it has to like fake it. Like it's
Yeah, we were
really
trying to
not a
make
nice-
ghost players at one point, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if that could be made to work, then that would be better because then they'd be real players. But even
That's what
then,
I
like,
think we should do, but
yeah,
I feel like Rio had some opinion on this at one point. I can't remember
just
what he
like
was saying.
client.
Well, I
Yeah.
think what Rio was saying is that
Players.
for our
Possess.
replays are going to be like
Yeah.
snapshots of everything, right? And then for lobbies, we just basically network the replay, like we stream the replay to other people. And that case would basically take away the simulation because at that point, what you're
Yeah,
streaming
yeah.
is like, here's where the rocket is on this tick, and then this tick, and we I don't know interpolate it so it's.
So
not
are we saying that
choppy or
work
whatever.
would just supersede any work fixing this then?
Probably, yeah.
'Cause
I mean,
if so, we should at least.
Well, I
Like,
mean, I
try
don't
to spec stuff a
think
bit more precisely
any of the
so we
like
can-
sticky launcher UI would work without that.
why not? Why can't we just network whatever the UI needs to look correct?
I mean, we could. It's just it will be very messy.
What at? I mean, we network player position and player speed and the timer. Why can't we network how many
Yeah.
stickies they've got out and how
Yeah.
armed they are?
Yeah, I guess we could do that. I mean, it's like sometimes stickies. I don't think
Oh my god, I'm so bad.
I forget how they work, but I think sometimes they don't spawn if you like drop a packet or something. But
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm just
Wait, they don't
I'm-
spawn for the original user or the user specking them?
the specking, yeah.
Is that
Well,
the
not
end of the world?
specking, but just
Yeah.
other players in the world. I mean,
But-
it's not the end of the world. It's I think we could do it.
But then
like
they
that.
just, I mean,
Just extra work, but
but we're not simulating.
and
the-
it's also like if we change something in the sticky launcher, then I don't know.
Okay, but
Yeah. Well, these are just
honestly, I'm
maybe
just gonna
not
wait
things
for
to talk
Rio
about in the
do it.
Q&A.
yeah, I mean,
I'm
it's
just
good
gonna
to-
wait for Rio to do it.
Yeah.
Well, Rio was talking about doing. He's got a
Everything.
bunch of time and networking stuff. Well, this is the thing. Is like Rio will, if other people aren't doing stuff, then Rio will like take up a lot, which is good, and to some extent we need at times because we don't have that many people doing stuff with like the online, right? Like it's just no one's really touched online stuff in a while, and so if we are gonna. If multiple people have opinions and we want to do it properly, we do need to actually get people talking to one another. And I think with some of our like stuff in red, we haven't done that very well. It seems like certain technical things where like if I need to corral everyone into a bloody Discord call, I'll do it because like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to dive into like the two things I think we need to refactor the most internally at some point are all of the multiplayer stuff
Yeah.
and the weapon code. 'Cause
Good.
The weapon code is awful.
Yeah.
I've got
it's
ideas for
pretty
weapon
rough.
code, but I don't really want to dive into it because there's so many layers. Like we were talking the other day about getting rid of being able to drop weapons, just because that adds like a lot of complexity. Because you actually like the entity gets like actually removed from the player, right? So instead, like in game modes that allow you to drop weapons, I think that we could have just use the current like enable disable system, and then that should simplify a bunch of stuff, because then basically all weapons for all modes become required, and then it's just a matter of whether they're enabled or disabled by default. And like for the user it would look the same, but in code it would be simpler, I think. And then other stuff like being able to hide individual weapons instead of hiding all view models or something like that would also be useful to have. I also want to just get rid of whatever, like, there's like, I've said this before, we have like 3 ammo systems in the code. we have the old Half-Life 2 ammo system, which we have all the code for, and it almost certainly doesn't work. Like, it does not, I guarantee it, if you try and turn it on, it will probably break. But it's still there in the weapons, because that's how it was written. We have some other really weird ammo system that's like, basically the type of ammo the weapon uses, and then like the particle effects looks at that to figure out what type of particle effect it needs to spawn or something. And then we have like, the actual ammo
that's
system.
That's a really rough part of the code. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Good.
And then even in like the Valve stuff, there's some, I think some of the complexity there is actually somewhat necessary. But there is a bit of jank in like weapons switching logic. Some of it's handled on the client, some of it's handled on the server. I think it actually does kind of make sense for multiplayer games for it to work that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how much of that we should change, because that's all like shared code with P2C and any other mods or whatever.
Just
it's the same code as... Yeah, people hate that though. By the way, all of this code that
no
I
other way to do it
is in the SDK, so I'm not talking about anything that's secret. But
yeah, I think we're being loose enough anyway that it's probably not too bad. But yeah.
But yeah, some of that could probably be fixed. Like for example, like the client will check to see whether you can switch to a weapon before sending the switch command to the server, and I had to change that because in Defrag, attempting to switch to a weapon that you can't switch to
only,
actually does do something. So I needed to change the client to forward that command to the server and make the client handle it.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fucking hate game programming. Give me give me Postgres any day and fucking Webland. I'm kidding. That stuff's boring as hell, but like, oh my god, game programming is hard. Like,
fun.
You know. We should talk about this stuff properly though, especially with ghosts, because those things, like, we can't just have people have cool theories of how to do stuff, but then we need people in an actual meeting, and we're so bad with Red, because Red's like, it's just impossible to get everything around at the same time. Like timing stuff, so like Rio and Slidey and people can be around is like pain. But if we need to do it, we should at least try to do like one meeting or something, or like have a proper conversation about it in text channels, because multiplayer is really, really, really hard. Right, we just hit the 3-hour mark, so I think we can head off.
Time to start the
finally I can do the Christian life. Yeah, that's like
I missed something.
Twitch chat. It's a tag on Twitch. I just have I'm really Christian, alright?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all about Christianity and Momentum Mod.
Christianity is like Christ
Jesus,
is great.
It's not going to be approved.
I was reading up on like Christ on Wikipedia.
I like the fish story.
Seems like quite a chill man.
Yeah. No, it was good stuff.
Would you rather be a fish?
Well, thanks for watching our stream, everyone.
I've studied spamming soundboard, so we should probably stop.
Dave. It's
shit. Okay, yeah, I hope that was an okay Q&A. We were considering like rescheduling stuff and like not doing stuff because Nick wasn't here, but I mean these things are pretty relaxed, and I think it's good to just do them, and if someone can't make it, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, we may have some O10 stuff next month. It's hard to say because when stuff gets tied together, yeah. But ultimately, we're getting through really quite a lot of it, of the really meaty O10 stuff, and so much of that is like, honestly, the stuff we're talking about just here, the online stuff is stressing me out, but this is like one of the last, like, I think getting online stuff better is going to be one of the last, like, really annoying things. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as, like, the timer and zone stuff that Rio had to do, where, like, so much of that had to get rewritten, it was brutal. And a lot of that we've, like, made it through now, for the most part. Well, there's some more to do, but, like, a big chunk of it's done, so.
I'm looking forward to reviewing it when it comes in.
Yeah, we've got bits and pieces, but a lot of the bulk of it we've still not got an offer here. I think some of it's push, but I don't think it's in review yet. Anyway, as always, if you want to get involved with Momentum, check out our Discord. Could do some more web devs or like sound people. It's always nice. Please don't slag us off in the YouTube comments too much. I'm just kidding. It's fine. Alright, see ya. Who was I going to raid? Who was it? It was Breezy Surfs. Let's see. Let's start picking a fight in the YouTube comments. Alright. Laters.
Bye, chat.